off-road adventure. With zero emissions and infinite possibilities. Light Horse. A tale of power told in electric whispers.
A good shave is a precise shave, but just how small is the scale of this precision? When we were initially experimenting with different blade gaps and blade exposures, we were surprised at the difference that microscopic changes made. For context, a piece of paper is about 4/1000th of an inch thick. Turns out, that's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
Are you ready to take your communication to the next level? Introducing Corporate Streams, providing painless solutions for live streaming since 2012. With Corporate Streams, you can transport attendees worldwide to the heart of your event with our cutting-edge audio and video, amplifying your message and making a lasting impact. Imagine attendees interacting with speakers and presenters through live chat and Q&A sessions regardless of their location. You can create an immersive, inclusive experience for participants no matter their circumstance. Say goodbye to the burdensome costs of traveling and venues. Our clients have reported savings of up to 86% compared to traditional events. Extend the lifetime of your event with on-demand content. Whether watching a missed session or revisiting key moments, no longer will your audience have to choose. It's time to elevate your communication with Corporate Streams, revolutionizing the way you connect, engage, and make an impact.
All right, we're back. Oh, Jesse's over there.
Yeah, I decided to be over here. So, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I'm so excited. Why are you all over here? What? It's going to be a little bit, just to let you know. So if you want another drink, if you want some more food, take your time. You don't have to stand here all night. We're not selling the latest iPhone. It's just a Cybertruck. Come on. We're thinking about 45 minutes. Yeah, we're thinking about maybe 45 minutes until something comes. I don't know.
Do you think people are excited about Cybertruck? Is that why?
I don't know. Maybe after kind of the initial sticker shock, maybe we're coming back to thinking about, hey, I want to see a Cybertruck in my driveway, huh? No?
I mean, there was one here earlier, so...
Yeah, and I guess there's that space over there for another one to come.
Yeah,
back,
this is
so.
You
this is
would
quite a
think.
nice space over here.
I
I'm
guess
just
the big
kind of
question is
exploring
who
it.
would be in that next Cybertruck? You know?
I don't know.
I might know.
Oh.
I might know.
Ellie might know who's coming in the Cybertruck. Interesting.
Zip.
If we pull enough of these off of you, will you
They
tell us?
are full. I'm so sorry. I'm littering your stage.
Well, Jesse, since there's nothing going on over there, come back over here and let's
All
talk
right.
some more about Cybertruck.
Let's talk some more.
So
All
we just
right.
got an interesting question from the audience, which was, why did Tesla not tell us more about this, in the months that passed? Why are they not telling us more about it now? Because I think we're all just Tesla nerds and we want to know
Right.
everything. Why isn't Elon telling us everything?
Well, I think we had the same questions after the Tesla Semi event.
Well, you know what's interesting? Elon owns another little company. I forget what it's called. Something to do with space. You would know because you cover them.
SpaceX.
And on SpaceX, they seem to give us more information than you can possibly hold in your head. It seems like all the time, if there's new information about a rocket engine, how much
Right.
thrust, we get it, right? And it's so much information. Like you're telling us all the time about stuff that I'm like, I can't even fathom all of this information. Why is it different, do you think, between SpaceX and Tesla, where Tesla, it's like mum's the word?
I know.
Okay.
I can't buy a rocket. I can't buy a rocket. I too poor. I can't buy a rocket. So I think that's why, right? Like, no big deal. I mean, who's buying the rockets, or at least the rides on the rockets?
Right.
They already know all this stuff, right? So me, the average consumer, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I know about the rockets, right? What do you think?
I think you might be right. I honestly don't know the answer. I think I was worried that they weren't going to give us the price today, so I'm glad that we got that. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know what's going on behind the scenes. Unlike SpaceX, we see a lot of what they're doing because it's publicly accessible pretty much. And so what's going on behind closed doors at Giga Texas, we don't really know.
Well, and another thing is, SpaceX is a privately owned company.
Right.
So you'd think, you'd know less because it's a
Yeah.
private company, but it's
Right.
like, no, in fact, you get to know more because it's not public. When a company is public, they have to make sure that they go through all the right steps to share information. And so Elon has to be very careful when he's tweeting to make sure that he doesn't share too much information. Otherwise, you end up with a funding secured tweet and the SEC breathing
But we
down
also
his
get
neck.
this interesting thing where we feel like we're getting information, right? Because Joe Tegmeyer and others are covering the drones, and
Yes.
and you get to see, a Cybertruck just pulled out of the factory. What does that mean? And so we're all trying to ask these deep questions, but in fact, we're not really getting to know much at all.
Right. Speaking of Cybertrucks in front of the factory, when I got there today, they had pulled them inside because of the weather. Then, when I was leaving, they had 4 of them on display. The matte black one of them. Have you guys seen it already? The one with like
Baja.
the Baja, and then the camping one.
the camper one.
You've seen it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we had some cameras on the ground, and we got to see the camper.
Oh, good. I was going to
So-
say I can show it to you.
So there's a camper and a light bar,
Right.
both of which I think are going to be accessories that Tesla's going to sell.
Right. And they talked about that. I actually interviewed Drew Baglino back at the Tesla lithium refinery groundbreaking, and he said that they would be making accessories, didn't specify what, but when Cybertruck rolled up with that beautiful rack, everyone was like, what's going on with the rack? Can we get the rack? So doesn't surprise me. And you know that there are going to be other companies that have their own accessories as well.
Well, I think that's another thing we wanted to hear about tonight was, are there Tesla accessories? And I just thought we'd hear at least a couple of them, light
Right.
bar or whatever, and then we didn't hear about it. But
Well-
we don't, I guess Elon doesn't need to tell us about it today.
I have a question for you guys, actually. I had one of my subscribers reach out to me just maybe 30 minutes ago. He said he's trying to order a Cybertruck and use my referral code, and it is not working.
Oh,
So is that because they don't want to give that discount?
interesting.
That is interesting.
So I want to know if you guys
Maybe they weren't
know
thinking about
anything
it.
about that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe they just, part of me feels like an intern was told to turn this on last night.
Right,
I
right.
don't know, if they've even
Sure.
gotten the website fully working.
But
that's a
also,
really good point.
maybe they didn't need you to tell them about the Cybertruck. No offense. I mean, I don't think they probably needed me to tell them about the Cybertruck either. I feel like it's It's in the zeitgeist. It's so popular.
Right, totally. So it would be good to know, like, are they not offering any sort of...
Unless it's going to be the final purchase.
Yeah.
But it's like, how many times do I have to order this Cybertruck before I actually take delivery of it? Is it going to be in $250 installments over the next 2 years?
Yeah. When do you guys actually think you'll see your baby?
I don't know. I've, when you waited 4 years for something, part of you wants to have like, oh, it's coming this date, and have that in your mind. But then part of you is like, I've been thinking that the whole time. Like I thought 2021, 2022. So I would hope January, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. We think we're number 20 in line, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that get moved up above you, like employees and stuff like that, and they deserve to get theirs first. So.
And I think also it's going to be a lot like the Model 3 delivery ramp, where people were so excited the day of the delivery event. They thought that their Model 3 was going to be just weeks off. And then it was quite a while before they actually took delivery of their Model 3s. But Tesla was ramping up that production. I hope it's not, as bad a production hell as Tesla was in 2018, 2019,
Right.
2017. But, it very well could be. This is a brand new style truck.
Totally. Well, and it just makes me wonder, we heard that, we saw that comment of we dug our own grave with this, right? That kind of made a lot of headlines. And it just makes you wonder what's actually going on behind closed doors. Like, is it as put together and, how... What is the production hell currently?
Sure.
I'd love to know.
And also, where's my Cyber Quad?
Well, yeah.
It's great that I can get the one for my child, but where's the I want this big boy Cyber Quad.
Did you see or hear anything about the ramp that comes off the back of the truck? Remember when we first saw it in 2019, we saw this metal ramp that goes...
To get my Cyber Quad onto my truck.
I didn't see that.
It wasn't talked about or anything,
Not
right?
talked about, and definitely not on display that I saw at least.
Right.
And there were a couple on display. There was one that they crashed, and they put that on display. They put the
interesting.
one that was shot at on display. So they had some really cool displays out there.
Oh, that's cool.
But they also didn't give us much time. It was like by the time I got out there, I had 15 minutes until the last shuttle. So
Wow.
yeah, it was short.
Yeah.
It's such a funny event. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't really feel...
The weird thing too is I feel like compared to Cyber Rodeo, this has got to be the second biggest event, right?
Feels like it.
I don't know. So it's like Cyber Rodeo. I mean, they went all out. They had free tattoos. They were just they were going out. And so I was expecting it, shareholder meeting. Okay, I get it.
Sure.
This is kind of more business, but I was expecting a little bit more. I don't know.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
over the top.
I'm not trying to complain,
Right.
but just sharing my honest experience.
But I
exactly.
mean, it's not complaint. It's what I think would be best for Tesla.
Right.
I don't need unfettered access over the thing. But just tell me about the things that you're telling me about on your website. Why am I reading this in text when
Right.
you could show me what the extended battery looks like? Or
Right.
just say we might have an extended battery.
But then
if
it's
Elon says that on stage, I'm excited.
And then it's still estimated. So are they just not ready yet?
Right. I mean, if you do it at the event with Elon, then you control the message.
Right.
But if you have these things kind of trickle out afterwards, and then the story gets kind of misinterpreted and blah blah blah,
Right.
then
If you
control
let
the
two
message.
doofuses like Zach and Jesse
Right.
start, running with these ideas, it's
Right,
like
because for the first hour we didn't know what the battery extender was, so we're just
Right.
I don't know, is it a bigger battery?
well,
yeah.
then you get a little bit of breaking news experience.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, which is fun, but yeah, it just seems better for Tesla if they control the whole news narrative.
Right.
And tell you, for instance, about the bidirectional charging,
Right.
which he didn't mention. I feel like that's a huge story for this truck, right? But he didn't talk about it. So even though it will come out over the days to come.
Right.
and it's a huge value add for the truck.
Right.
I mean, to know that basically if you already have a Powerwall, that the Powerwall is going to be your inverter, your gateway to your house, to your home, and potentially even to the grid, going through the Powerwall, that's really neat. And there's no information about it. We basically had to hear about it third hand, and so, it's a valuable part of the
Right.
truck.
When Ford came out with it for the F-150, the Lightning, it was a big news. A lot of news articles were written about oh my God, you can back up your house with this truck. It became a story.
Right.
And listen, I know that the Ford thing was a little bit on the on the BS side because you had to buy an $11,000 inverter. And with this one, you're going to have to buy like a $4,500 Powerwall. Am I right on price on that?
Well, so the Powerwall is more expensive than that. I don't know if you'll have to have the Powerwall because as
Sure,
Joe
you could
was
have the
telling us,
Gateway.
you can get the Gateway. So I mean, there's still going to be some extras you'll have to have.
Sure, but to me, it's a little bit more exciting. The truck is a little bit more exciting, at least even just visually, it's more exciting than the Ford.
Well, and you guys saw it here when Sandy drove it over, and you got to go inside, I'm guessing, too?
Just a little bit, yeah.
What'd you think of the inside?
It's just, to me, having the vaulted ceiling
Yeah.
is such a different experience for a vehicle because normally you get a flat roof.
Right.
And so even though I'm sure it's not in inches that big a deal, just visually it makes you feel like you're in this palace. At least that's why you were in it, right?
I was, and 17 inches of clearance that's adjustable. I mean, that's...
Right. No other truck has that, right?
Right.
So I mean there's just so many cool things about this truck that I don't think that video really captured. Because one of the number one things I heard as I went through the crowd was we wanted to know more about the interior.
Right.
And like that was their chance to kind of give us some of that as well, but
yeah.
it wasn't really in
Well,
the video that I saw.
And especially this was not a out of the clear blue sky kind of event, right? We all had, I'm not going to say preconceived notions about the Cybertruck, but we were all told Cybertruck was going to seat 6. I don't think it's going to seat 6, right?
Well, and they didn't let us inside any of them at the event. So
Right.
Sandy, thank goodness for him.
Sure. And, you know, we had a release candidate here. I think it was a release candidate. And so, right, like, there's just a lot of things that we thought this truck would do, like having the ramp, like having the 6 seats. And so I totally get it, having to like go on stage and be like, actually, we're not going to have this and we're not going to have that. That's no
Right.
fun. I get that.
Right.
But giving a full tour of it, giving a full explanation of what it is, telling us the prices, since it's not like you weren't going to tell us the prices, it's kind of interesting. Part of me wonders if they couldn't do that because of some kind of SEC thing where they couldn't release any information while the markets were still open. But then also, why hold it at this time of day?
Right.
Why is
not
it?
an hour
Why is it
later?
right now? Why isn't it at night? Why aren't they having a big old party? Why are we having the big old party?
Well,
It wouldn't have been so hot at the Giga Texas factory if it had been tonight, right?
it was. I'm not kidding. Like I'm sorry I keep saying that, but it was so hot in
Yeah,
there.
they're melting aluminum in there.
People were sweating. You know what? What was I gonna say?
Well, good. That makes me feel a little better
like-
about not getting a ticket.
Honestly, no chairs. Super hot. I was like,
But they did serve you water, didn't they?
they sure did.
Was there
beggars
pumping
can't be
DJ
choosers.
music while you were there?
They were playing music, and like I said, I mean, it was really great to be able to take video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be releasing a video on my channel, Ellie in Space,
Nice.
of the production line, and I interviewed a couple people there, Dr. Know-It-All, Sawyer Merritt, some people that hadn't met before. So so make sure to tune into my coverage.
Awesome. Yeah. Ellie in Space. Make sure you do subscribe.
And hey, I think we're running on almost 4 months of.
Yeah, you're on our show every week now. It's so
Yeah.
great that you give us all of what's going on SpaceX every week.
Which, it's crazy. This November, we had a Starship launch, and now this.
What did you think about Starship Launch, by the way? Made out of the same material as Cybertruck.
Right.
Or vice versa.
Right. Right. It was awesome. It was definitely way more promising than the first one, especially just that initial launch with
How did it feel when it turned around and started coming back to base? Like when the
Went
booster
for the flip. It didn't
flipped.
necessarily make it.
Well, it didn't make it back, but I mean
It
when
was hard for me to see at that point from where I was. Yeah. But it was, I'm telling you, like, and I tell everyone, if you can make a trip down to Starbase, go. Especially because they are starting to put up some fences and some walls and starting to kind of close up access a little bit. So,
where's the best place? Is the beach the best place to go? Like, where's the best place?
well, so yes, Isla Blanca Park is where, hundreds of people go. You don't have any service there, but you are about 5 miles from the pad. So it's very close. It's kind of this nice communal feel, but if you're a content creator, you might want to have service. So I was able to go on Margaritaville, the roof again, which the Musk family was there the first time. They weren't there this time. but they're not doing that for everyone. So I think if you go to the Holiday Inn, you can pay $50 and get on the roof. So, but even if you get a hotel room that's facing and you have a balcony, it's still a really great view. It just kind of depends on what kind of experience you want.
And it was loud.
Oh, it was super loud. Yeah, and you know what? I really can't wait until we have a Starship launch at night, because that blue is going to look incredible. I mean, even during the day, because I've seen SLS and I've seen Falcon 9s, and it's just so incredibly bright, so loud, like deafening loud. Apparently some people on, you guys get trolls too online. They're like, you shouldn't have been screaming and cheering during the launch. What do you mean? I'm human, dude. Everyone was. So
I was busy weeping, by the way. I was
I was crying.
tears were running down my face.
Yeah.
So good on you for actually like being excited. I mean, I was excited, but I was just like, I was crying.
Yeah, well, I have actually cried. They're emotional. Have you? I forgot. Have you guys seen a launch?
Not in person, no.
What are you doing?
I know, right?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Like literally, what are you doing?
We have to go.
Isn't like, come on.
I know. That's why we're getting the solar trailer so we can go down for that.
How is that going?
It's good. Yeah, it's getting really
Okay.
close.
Looks a lot nicer on the inside than
Okay.
on the side.
Well, yeah, it was a little under construction,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you guys got to go. And I would say definitely go to a Starship launch if you can. The problem with the Starship launches is that, as we know, the date can be
They get
such a
pushed,
moving
right.
target, and even if you're there, it can get scrubbed last second. It's the most frustrating thing, but you just have to. If you're a Rocket fan, you that's part of the deal.
Yep.
So I was surprised actually that it went, because for some reason I was expecting a last second. Kind of like there was with the first one, but
And we might have another one within weeks, right?
that's what they say. But
You don't think so?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, especially if they have like a capped number of launches they can do next year. Of course, they want to get another one under their belt. They want to get as much data as possible. So they said maybe next month, which is what, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow.
Right.
So
All right.
maybe.
Be ready.
Maybe, but
Now, so they have a bunch of version 1 Starships left over.
I think he said 3.
Are those
3 or 4.
Does he actually want to launch those, or has he already moved past those?
Good question. I'm not sure if those are in the queue as something that they could just,
Or are they just going
use
to
in
weld
December.
them into Cybertrucks? Like,
Well, probably not that.
A lot of weirdly round Cybertrucks.
Yeah, but
flatten it.
it's definitely worth seeing. It's an incredible experience, and people come from all around the world. I have to say something too about this event. We're here at the Lustre Pearl. So many people flew in just to be at this after party.
I know.
I mean, that's incredible. You're talking plane tickets, hotel, rental
Yeah.
car. They didn't even get into the event, and that's how powerful the Tesla community is. It
Yes.
really is incredible. And
And-
the SpaceX community is powerful too, but I think the Tesla community is like even deeper.
Wow.
Well, we
I
get
really
we get to
do.
drive the cars every day. We get to feel what it's like to launch in a rocket
Right.
every day.
Well, there you
Whenever
go. That's
you want.
true. That's
the
true.
push of a pedal. And hey, if you are in Austin or if you're around and you can make it, we're gonna be here till pretty late. So if you want to join us, we're at the Lustre Pearl East. Feel free to join us. We had an Eventbrite with tickets, but we didn't pay. We didn't ask for any money. So I don't know. We can probably get you in. Right now, we are definitely under capacity. So. There's
come on
plenty of
down.
room. Lots of people are standing, waiting for something. I don't know what they're
it's-
waiting for over
I
there.
love that crowd mentality. Some people went over there, and then everyone followed.
I think
and
like 4 people had to go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden we're left with a crowd sitting over there. So that's pretty funny.
that's because everyone wants to see the Cybertruck.
Exactly, and
It's,
it is coming at some point.
Very invisible-looking Cybertruck over there at the moment. But
Yeah, no, it should be here very soon, I think. So
Yes.
that's going to be exciting.
What time is it right now?
It is
30?
It's pink o'clock.
It is
Oh,
pink o'clock?
What time is it?
It is.
Oh, and I think I see somebody I recognize.
5:30.
Who is that I recognize right there?
Oh, the teardown titan himself, Sandy Monroe.
Looks like
Welcome
Sandy's
to the
making his way through the
party.
crowd.
Sandy's in the
As Jehu
house.
says, Sandy's in the
Woo!
house. Yep.
nice.
He's so nice. I love Sandy.
Sandy's got to be tired.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot.
Yeah.
Somebody let Sandy know we can pull a seat up here for him.
I mean, you guys have got to be tired too.
Yeah, but you see, I got to sit down
Yeah.
all day.
I will say.
You're standing, you're walking around, you're getting
my
shuffled from here to
back
there.
hurts.
In a hot,
like
hot
for real,
factory.
my back hurts. But
Yeah, and
it was worth it.
As you can see, we're showing you some shots of Sandy making his way through the crowd over here. So that's great. He was here earlier in a Cybertruck. They let him drive it, by the way.
Yes.
How cool, how badass is that?
Yes.
The Tesla lets you drive a
That was
Cybertruck.
really cool.
And he loves it.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to drive it.
Especially since he gave them a whole list of things to do better. Remember during Model 3? And he's like,
Right.
Elon,
So
Right.
here's some things to fix.
Right.
we're going to have to ask him his list for the
I was going to say,
Cybertruck.
do we know any of his lists?
Let's ask him.
We'll see.
Sandy. Psst.
All right.
Psst.
Yeah.
Paging Sandy
All right, so
Monroe.
Let's see. Hey Faye says, yes, someone said steel origami when they saw the Cybertruck. I swooned. Nice.
Thanks for commenting, you guys.
I
Feel
know.
free to comment and engage with us because we
Oh.
have the technology to see your
And
comments.
hey, hit the like button.
That's
Hit
right.
the like button because you know what? This is going to get
Someone
a whole
buy
lot
Sandy
more
a
exciting
cold
in just a
beer.
few minutes. Because I don't know that the crowd is over there for some reason. I don't know why. So
And if you want to
you're not going
comment,
to want to miss it.
if you want to comment, by the way, make sure that you subscribe to whatever channel you're on right now. If you
Mm-hmm.
aren't, because that'll let you comment. I think it'll take you a minute before you can on some of the channels, but just go subscribe. Really important.
Well, let's check this out. Tons of Cybertruck accessories on the website now. Should we see what they
Ooh.
are?
Yes,
All right.
please.
Get out your phones, everyone.
Okay, let's see what we can get.
Okay.
I want a light bar, please, for
And
Christmas.
Sawyer said that it'll still have that tax credit available.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That's what he said.
And
Okay.
it's heavy
if I
enough for
interpreted it
for the Hummer
correctly.
tax credit as well
Okay.
for
Yeah,
businesses.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be pretty popular.
Accessories. Loading on the Tesla website, allegedly.
We definitely saw some kind of a camper.
Oh,
It said that it
okay.
inflated.
Do
Oh,
I
yeah,
go
what's
under
that?
vehicles or do I go
Okay,
under?
so we have Cybertruck color paint film, $6,500.
Ooh.
So there's your wrap.
Nice.
Cybertruck spare tire and tool kit, $1,250.
Okay.
We have Cybertruck floor mats. We have an all-weather interior liner for $295. Or you can have some Cybertruck carpet interior mats, $155. For your interior, available early 2024, not too far away, Cybertruck under-seat storage bin for $250. There's also going to be a Cybertruck glass roof sunshade, $115. Going once, going twice.
I know, right? These are great stocking stuffers.
Yeah.
Cybertruck center console tray, $40. Cybertruck vault cargo bins, $225.
Interesting.
And then we have this Cybertruck base camp, almost $3,000. Let's see what this. Let's learn a little bit more about this base camp.
Yeah.
You can purchase it in the Tesla app. Description: bring your campsite with you on the road, featuring an ultralight geodesic airframe design. The Cybertruck base camp tent can be inflated in minutes using a manual pump without the need for any structural pulls. A tactical gray kaleidoscope patterned nylon interior keeps you safe from the elements, while screen windows allow for airflow to keep you comfortable. Relax on an ultra soft mattress, okay. While taking in a view of the stars, use the truck's bed outlet to keep your devices charged even while you're off grid. A weather-resistant outer shell with an extendable awning offers added protection. The fully collapsible, self-contained pack is mounted above the truck bed, but below the, how do you say this? Tonneau
Tonneau
Oh,
cover?
tonneau.
tonneau cover. Conserving bed storage space and range while on the road. Engage in tent mode, okay, tent mode on your vehicle's touchscreen for an enhanced camping experience. So.
Huh. But so it looks metallic, but it's basically a canvasy kind of like material.
Right, and this was the one that was on display actually at the event.
Oh, okay. Did it look roomy?
At least it looked like that. It did look pretty nice. Why are people yelling?
Jesse's going to go check
Jesse
it out.
is
first.
going
I'm
to
checking
go
out
investigate.
What's going on over here? Oh my goodness!
it sounds
I think
like
we
a
have a Cybertruck over here,
Sounds
folks.
like
All
a Cybertruck.
right.
Oh, there it is. Let's go
Oh
check it
my
out.
goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh man!
Wow.
at this thing.
Beautiful.
Is it centered under the 360 cam,
Wow.
Jesse?
Not quite, but it's pretty good.
Now, who is this in the driver's seat?
I don't know.
Is this someone who took delivery?
I don't know. It's an awfully...
Because I don't recognize that
It's
face.
not Sandy, because Sandy's standing right here.
Howdy. Hi again.
Hi again. It's been a high. All day long it's been a high.
Yeah.
Oh, it's leaving. Uh-oh. I'm just kidding.
You a margarita.
Cheer if you want it to come back. Yeah. Don't go, Cybertruck. We love you.
I think
Where's
we're just
it
turning it
going?
around, so don't worry, folks.
Okay,
We
okay.
just want the best view for all of you guys who showed up. I know, no tank turn, huh?
So, Sandy, will you tell us what it's like to drive since you've been driving it?
Yeah, I got a chance to drive it for about 2 hours. I would tell you that when you're in a tight situation like that, you should be able to turn on a dime because it's got rear wheel and front wheel steering, and with the basically drive-by-wire system, it's really a dream to drive. It's uber quiet, and this looks like the same view I just saw. I could be wrong, but this doesn't look like the back end. Oh, I see. They're going to run over Eric. Okay, let's get out of here. You've already had
Wow.
problems with getting your legs broken. So let's move back here.
Now, where were you able to drive it?
I drove it from the Gigafactory to here, and then we went up. And I will tell you, one thing that's truly scary is driving this into a parking garage. I thought I was going to pee my
Elaborate, please.
pee my pants. Well, it's usually like something happens and you get really warm, but at the end of the day, that was scary because you can't. Okay, so first off, you've got a tremendous view. Anybody that gets a chance to sit in this thing, this has got the most panoramic view ever, unless you're driving a motorcycle or a convertible. It's really, really good. When you are driving into like the up ramp of
Check.
if you're driving up the up ramp of a parking garage, wow! All of a sudden, where the hell is my corners? I don't know. And because it can turn really tight when it's moving slowly, it scares the crap out of you. It did for me. All I need is a little time. I think that's what it is. I needed a little more time because I've never driven anything that has front and rear wheel steering in a car, and I've never driven anything that has the kind of finesse that this car has. But I will tell you, it's quiet as a tomb. When you drive it, there's no noise. We drove by cement mixers and characters that, revving their diesel engines and whatnot. But this is super duper quiet. I can't begin to tell you what a thrill it was to drive. It's probably the apex of the day. And being as I was at the Tesla release and everything, that was pretty good. But driving this is superior. Hey, let's stand in front of the truck. Oh, stand in front of the truck. How about that? Wow. Okay. All right.
You meet again.
Hey, didn't I just? Oh, you give me a mic too. Now I've got my own mic. There we go. There's no telling what's going to happen now. Yeah. Hey. Oh, yeah. They're yelling.
Oh my
This
gosh,
lady-
getting heckled here. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh,
huh?
okay. Well, there you are. I'm not exactly sure what she said, but she seems angry. So
Uh-oh.
that must be you, not me.
I'm gonna get
You what?
quality tech.
Really? Well, then.
Thank you for
why
coming.
Why are you not here? Hang on a second.
Hello.
Thank you. Okay. All right, that's great. Okay, so now we've had, conversation with the quality tech people. Does anybody else have a question or a comment? Yeah, I think that's the best thing. We were just talking a second ago about the driving experience. I really liked it. I think that Tesla has a kick-ass product, and I've driven everything. I even drove a 911, but never against one of these. And for those who were not in the crowd, the 500 that were implemented or were down in the thing, you got to see the video. It's a picture of a Tesla Cybertruck racing a 911.
Yeah.
But you know what's really cool? The Cybertruck was towing a 911 at the same time and beat it.
And still won.
And still won.
Well, Sandy,
Yes.
I want to know, are you able to share any constructive feedback that you might have for Tesla?
Constructive. The only thing that I'd really like to see is I'd like to see a view when I'm going into if I'm going into what do you call it?
Parking garage?
Parking garage. That did scare the crap out of me.
That's really interesting.
It would be great if I could see what's going on with the front of the car, because it was really tight. And although this is,
I think there might
What's
actually
that?
be a front camera.
there is a front camera. Actually, there's two corners in the
I
front.
see it. It's right here.
From quality standpoint, okay, so, all right, so let's talk about quality. The one that I had was pre-production, okay? So I saw that there was a gap differential between here, where the doors come together, and here, okay? This one here, I haven't had a chance to check yet, but I did bring my magic finger with me.
Let's see. Oh. Oh, he's going for his secondary finger. He's going for the micrometer finger. There we
Okay,
go.
so here's the deal. These gaps are pretty much the same, and they're consistent all the way down. So from a gap standpoint, what?
Cell battery.
They did not give me the opportunity to pull a battery pack.
I know, but I'm front line of cell battery.
So here's the deal. I am very impressed with Tesla's dry cell battery technique. And so far, I've only seen one honest person tell me anything about, what do you call them? Solid state batteries. Most everybody is full of shit. It doesn't work. Okay, except for one company, Saku. Saku makes a real dry cell battery. That's the only one. And now you're going to tell us a little bit about the dry cell battery, which Tesla is not calling a solid state battery, but is as close as anything I've seen to it without having that label applied to it.
Dissection and pole battery have a legalization and dealing with the cell battery.
They have a what?
I think it's cell battery.
Well, what?
We dissect and make the pole test to make sure the cells are okay to go into a can.
Okay, well, that's good. But you know what? What I'm really interested in is how did they put the anode together? Because there's no glue, there's no liquid, and I'm telling you what, right now, this car has 100% 4680 dry cell batteries, and
Anode and cathode.
the anode and cathode is there for sure, but it's dry, which means that you get rid of 40% of the battery assembly line, because I don't have to extract the nasty shit that happens when you add electrolytes. So that's the big deal with Tesla.
The separators.
Yeah, the separators are there, but the retraction equipment is gone. The extraction of nasty chemicals. And wait, hang on a second.
When are you going to take one apart?
Nobody can hear you.
When are you going to take one apart?
As soon as Tesla can give me one. Yeah. Is there anybody here who has a Cybertruck that's going to be close but can't afford it? Because I cannot. Oh, hang on a second. This is my favorite cat lady on the runway. So if you have a Cybertruck, I can't afford, or I can't do a big giant amount of money but I can accept a early VIN number.
Was there a question?
What?
Was there a question?
There was. The question is, do you have one for me, sweetie?
Oh. I'm number 1,000,000th bajillionth.
1,000,000 bajillion. Could you mark that down, Eric? Yeah.
Tri-motor.
Tri-motor.
Tri-motor. July 2021 is when I ordered it.
Oh.
You're going to get it way sooner than me.
Sorry.
But
Sorry,
I can't
sweetie.
afford it. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice meeting you.
April 2020. Yeah, sorry, I can't. I'm looking for some real. Yeah. Oh, wow. What's. Yeah, anybody here from day one? Woo! Anybody that can't afford this truck or doesn't want the truck from day one? Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, so long. I'm done now. What?
Hey, Sandy.
No, actually, what we were doing was we were selling bottle openers because this truck's a lot more expensive. And everybody said, "Oh, screw you! I don't want a bottle opener. Too expensive." So now we have a lot of bottle openers. Maybe what we'll have is a sale. I'm not sure.
Hey, Sandy, I wanted to take a look at the truck for a second.
Yeah.
There's something on this one in particular that I think is pretty interesting. And it's right here, and it says that this is a Foundation series. And now the Foundation series, of course, is a book series by Isaac Asimov. But so of course
I
that's
have
like
no idea, but it
how'd they
says
do that?
stainless steel.
That's stainless steel.
Yeah. So
Is that laser?
It
oxidized?
could be. It could be blemish as well. So it's SSR. Oh, you got to move back.
Sorry.
SSRI.
I think it's Foundation series, but it's of course
Stainless
in
steel.
the
I
Tesla
don't know.
font. so
No
it's right
idea
here.
what that is. Thank you for humiliating me in front of a
I mean, how
1,000
many
people.
cars are made out of stainless steel, right?
None.
Uh,
There are none made out of steel.
I'm not
What?
trying to humiliate you, but what about the DeLorean?
Take a picture with which? I got a whole videos. I drove it for 2 hours.
Yeah,
I got
don't worry,
tons.
he's sick of it.
No, I'm not sick of it. I want it, but this guy's taking pictures. Oh, let people take pictures.
Yes, well, this is not our truck,
Okay,
so we are
this-
being very polite.
Oh, yes, it does. It's like people coming in and staring into your bedroom window. It matters. It absolutely matters. Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know. I never used the brake. How about that? I mean, it's got regen braking and drive-by wire. It brake by, yeah. So there's Brembo brakes on this, but most people who have Brembo brakes, like on their Model S and things like that, they never use them. Brakes never wear out. But why do you think that the media hates Tesla? Anybody got an idea why they hate Tesla? Because they never advertise. They don't sell anything extra. There's no maintenance. You know how many? Okay, so see this thing, this finger? See it's got a burn mark on it? That's because I changed the oil in my wife's tractor. Yeah. The thing is that when you buy something like this, the quality is built in, no question about it. That's probably why they held back on a lot of the reviews. But I tell you, at the end of the day, what you're looking at here is something that does not need repair. Okay? It doesn't need repair. It doesn't get hot. I'm an engine engineer. Okay? Your engine creates 43 to 45% efficiency. 43 to 45. How much do you think it is for an electric motor? 97. So why in the world would I ever have to change anything? I don't have to change the oil. I don't have to change the brakes. You can change the HEPA filter. Oh, pop the hood. We're going to show you how to. Yeah. Can we lift this up a bit? Can we?
It's locked. We're being informed that it is locked.
What?
It's locked.
Okay, so
sorry.
here's the deal. So HEPA filters, if you've got kids that get sick and whatnot, there's a HEPA filter in here. Normally, they're miserable. You got to take the instrument panel off in order to get to them. But here you do. It lifts up. You pull off a panel. You slide it out. You put the panel back on. Boom, you're in business. I'm telling you flat. This thing is fabulous. Yeah. What?
Does it have FSD 12?
What's the what?
Full self-driving version beta 12.
Okay, I did not have full self-driving, and a reason for that was because I was driving a pre-production vehicle. So there were a few things. If they said it, then I guess that's true, but I don't. Elon doesn't text me for these kinds of things. It's hard to believe, but yeah. I beg your pardon? 11,000 pounds. Oh, you mean like what do you call it? Trailer? Yeah, a gooseneck. I don't know about that, but I know that it'll pull 11,000 pounds. And I watched it beat an F-350 diesel, which came in second, and from towing standpoint. And they were towing like an astronomical. I don't remember the numbers, but they will be in. They will be like we took video and whatnot. But it's a phenomenal amount of towing capability. But 11,000 pounds, and if you get the extended range. Oh, okay. I have an NDA, and I just about crossed the run. So I will answer as much as I can as to what I saw at today's presentation, and they didn't tell everybody about that. So anyway, let's move on. What's that? Actually, we did not lower anything, so I don't know. But I will tell you that everybody was comfortable when I was, wow. Let me rephrase that. They were comfortable from climate standpoint. I don't know about my driving, but camp in a vault, that's what I intend to do. Okay, so one of the things that they did was they showed off some of the stuff that's aftermarket, and a guy has come up with, or somebody has come up with this tent that comes up here, goes over the whole unit, okay, and then you enter from the back. So there's places to store stuff underneath this rack, and then you've got a bed, and the whole thing is expanded using air pump. So I don't know. I didn't even look for that, to tell you. It has air conditioning because it's got a quad. Yeah, I know, but in this part, I don't know. I can tell you right now that when I get mine, I will go and shoot Bambi. I don't really give a damn. I don't care if it's Bambi, his mom, or his dad. Actually, his dad might be a good idea, too. But at the end of the day, I will be taking something like this, and I will be sleeping back here. Okay? Whether it comes through or not, I don't know.
Oh.
That was you. It's all you. What? Yeah. As long as you don't set it off again.
I believe we're going to be keeping this one locked,
What?
unfortunately.
Elon's here. I'm surrendering my. Did you? There is no ramp in the tailgate, okay? I can tell you that for sure because I tried. There is no ramp in the tailgate. It's too heavy. But here's the deal. For those who can see, let me see if I can. There you go.
Here we go. We got the frunk, everybody.
Okay, so there you go. So you can see what this is, and quite frankly, this is good. It's about 5.5 feet of cargo. When you add this, it's about maybe six or whatever, 6 and a bit feet. So you can put in 4x8 plywood. You can do all kinds of stuff. You certainly can haul what? No, but you know what's nice? What's really nice is this has a clock spring, okay? And this is really nice because watch this. Bear in mind, I'm 75 years old. Is that cool or what? I really like that. I mean, having that clock spring in there makes a big-ass difference because what happens here is when it goes down, it coils up, and then when you want to close it, you can lift it, and you've got that spring action working against the weight to clock it in place. No, I did not see any battery stuff, but I know there is one. That's about as far as I can go. Any other questions? You know what? I'm going down here. These guys here, these guys look kinder to me than you guys. Any questions here? Any? Hi, how are you? I can't hear you down there. You can't hear us? No. Oh, my God. Well, the speaker is way down there. We need more speakers. Where's Anwar Beck? He's our speaker guy. There he is. Oh.
He wants you to sign his truck.
Sign your truck? What are you shitting me? You might. Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll buy your truck. Holy shit! You're kidding? Is this? Oh, okay. So let's go to the signing while I try and talk this guy into letting me buy his truck. Wowzers! Well, I tell you what. Let's do this. Can you do me a favor? What I'd like to do is show you where the Philip. Hi, Philip.
Sandy, how are you?
I'm well.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's been
You having a
exciting
good
so
day?
far. So let's open your working sometime. Okay, what? No, it will not float. Okay. Okay, so let's open this up.
Hey, Sandy.
Did you know about your HEPA filter?
I'm going to swap you out. There you go.
Hello? Oh, wow. This is much louder. I've been just yelling at these guys. Nobody heard me down there. Okay, so actually, if you get in and open it from the inside. Oh, never mind. Okay, so hold this. Hold your breath.
What do you want him to sign? Wait. What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
So everyone, this is where the HEPA filter is stored. It's just 4 bolts right behind this.
You're going to need a crowbar. Anyway, this panel right here, you can pull off. If you're King Kong, you could get this, but I can't. Okay, good, yeah. Okay.
Give it a good tug.
Okay.
It's plastic, right?
Okay,
Give it a good
you
tug.
got it. Okay. If you can get one side,
Yeah.
you can get them both.
There you go.
Okay, hang
There.
on. Here we go. Okay, so here you are. And now here's your HEPA filter. Here's your HEPA filter right in here. Yeah. Yeah. It takes 2 men and a boy to make this happen, but at the end of the day, oh look, they gave you a license plate holder as well. This is your lucky. So, okay, ladies, what do you do with this area right here? What? Lay down. No, it's not big enough to lay down. Jump the fence, Speedy. I'd like to see you. No, you cannot do that. I can't make that happen, but I can tell you, you won't lay down. But you can put at least 3 shotguns in there with ammo, okay? So what we've got here is the ultimate. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is the ultimate hunting machine. This is the ultimate for quad. This is the ultimate for if you've got 2 or 3 motorcycles that you need to bring in. And by the way, Tesla does have. There's no such thing as a ramp inside the tailgate. However, Tesla is going to be selling tailgates, ramps for the tailgate, and you'll be able to get it in that way. But I tell you what, this is. Wait a minute. There's something else I need to see. Open that back up again. Press the button. Oh yeah. Well, that's where I was.
See that green light?
I can't see anything. Oh, there we go. Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, so how many people here drink beer? Anybody? Okay. So you're out in the middle of the woods and you want to drink beer, but you don't want to get rained on. Yeah, just throw the shotguns on the floor. See this? I can now drink without getting wet. And for those who do outdoor kind of stuff, it's a good idea. There you go. Okay, now we can lower it. What's that? Oh, yeah, this guy can. Where is the owner of this vehicle? Okay. Black hat on the phone. They would like to see a raise and lower the vehicle. I'll show you if you know how to do it. Oh, it's your. Oh, never mind. Can you raise and lower the vehicle? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's do that. And okay, so the owner has graciously allowed us to raise and lower the. Don't put your hand in there; it'll bite it off. Okay, so this is probably in kneel mode, or I don't know what they call it, but this is probably in the lowest mode because that's what you do when you get into the vehicle. But now it's going to raise up probably somewhere around 10 inches, 10 or 12 inches. And that's for your off-roading kind of stuff. By the way, you got to have the doors closed. What?
Oh, no, it's lowering. Who actually were the purchasers of these? Were they employees? Were they regular folks?
That guy right there. That guy right. I'll take care of that. Okay. Hang on a second. People want to talk to you, Philip. Can you swing by here? You are now a star. And you know what that means? It means I can go get a drink. Hang on to that. Okay, come on right up here.
The car is a star.
Well, car's a star, but you own the star. You own the spot. Okay.
No, I got a random phone call from a guy named Franz von Holzhausen, and he said, hey, can you be in Austin on Thursday? And if you can, you'll get one of the first 20 vehicles. That was on Tuesday.
Thanks so much for coming. This is so exciting.
Yeah, I had to pay for it Wednesday. Yeah, yesterday.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Tri-motor. And there's a laser engraved 3-headed Cerberus on the back that designates the tri-motor. A really cool logo. Sorry? The tonneau cover goes down. The back window, I don't believe it does. Yeah. It may. I'm not sure. This back window? Yeah, go for it.
Wait 1 second. I'm trying to
Do it.
not.
Yeah.
We flew out.
No, I haven't.
Thank you. All right, we're going to find out, does the glass go down?
Really?
I don't think so. I can't tell. I can't tell if the back glass goes down. There's a seam that I can fit my finger in just a little bit, but I don't know if the back glass goes down. I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with the back glass does not go down. Observing it here. I'm going to go with no.
I got a thumbs up from the owner. Everybody heard that?
Where did the owner go?
Hi, everybody. I am 5'10" feet tall. Hello. And I'm just going to lay in the back of this to see how I fit. I don't know if you can see my feet here. Whoop.
It's like this.
Dangling. Ooh, that's tight.
I can do that. No problem. There's a
Hold on.
truck here. Are you fucking kidding me?
All right, Jessica's laying in the back just to see how deep it is. She's 5'10". She's laying at a diagonal right now just to see camping accessories and whatnot. Her head is hitting. So her feet are just before the edge there, and her head is hitting at 5'10". So, yep. All right. There we go.
Yeah?
Camping accessories for sure.
Diagonally. Thank you,
Nice to meet you.
All right, where'd the owner go? I need to give the mic back.
actually, they've had an explosion of number of people visiting there since I did a video last week and with this event. So they've been going, what the hell?
All right.
Thank you.
Go jump in the Cybertruck.
Jesse. I'm John.
Nice to meet you.
Hey,
Daniel, nice to meet you too.
I look forward to your weekly videos.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you guys made it down here. I was like, are they going to bring a mobile studio? Or?
I'm glad that we did. It'll be faster that way.
Do we want to jump back in? I don't think anybody has the floor right now.
Okay.
We're just going to
Yeah.
B-roll. So, Dr. Know-it-all, Scott, Hans are ready if you want them, or you can carry it, whatever you want to do.
I'll do with and Joe. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Hey, dude. Do you feel like speaking?
Yeah. Do you want to do you, me, and Dr. Know-it-all? We'll just do a little talking about the truck and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. The castings were laying around.
I know.
I was like, I've seen those.
All right, guys, come on forward here. I got with me two people you probably all know. I got Joe Tankmeyer,
Hi, everybody.
pilot extraordinaire. Everyone should go subscribe to his channel. We got Dr. Know-it-all. So if you have a question,
How are you?
I got a Dr. Know-it-all.
Doctor, no, like just a little bit. Hopefully this is loud enough. Is it on? I don't know if this is on.
Can you hear me?
Try that one. Check. Nope. What's yours? I'm gonna kill it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll share. We're good. I think we're good now. Oh, that's better. Yeah, much better. All right, cool.
All right, so we just learned a lot from Sandy.
A lot.
The cool thing I was just noticing, just pointed out, is this foundation series.
Yes. So that's.
We all know that is that one of Elon's favorite book series?
Oh yeah, Asimov. So how many people have read Foundation? How many people have seen the TV series? I know it's. I just was wondering how many people had. Yes, read the book. No, it didn't. No, except for like a couple of the names. That was about it. So yeah. Anyway, but it's very cool. Foundation. So yeah. And did people see the doors yet? Because I don't know if Sandy showed like. These are pretty cool. Yeah, I mean it's just like.
Trust me.
And I believe if you have the keys, I think they will self-present like with your phone. But yeah, for now it just pops open. So if you press the, I don't know. Good question. Yeah, it does it on both sides, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, the back one's the back one. I think you got to push it a little harder. There you go. But yeah, it just presents. Cool. Oh, we got another one. It'll look so different from this one. I guarantee you. It'll have a whole different number on the front. All right. That's awesome. So, by the way, when you touch this, it's like, I don't know, anybody like Rolex, like high-end watches, it's got that really, really hard edge. The edges are like, they're not sharp. They won't cut you, but they're like, they're really, really hard edged. So, whoa. Okay. Don't hit anybody. Let's not have the first Cybertruck accident today, please. I heard we already had Cybertruck tickets, though. Yeah, somebody got towed, somebody got ticketed. Yeah, well, come on. I mean, it does 130 miles an hour. Why not?
Today or recently?
It was recently. I don't know about today, but yeah. Oh, that looks really cool backing up, by the way. All right.
So, Joe, how does it feel? You fly over these all the time.
Yeah.
Now you get to see them up close. What's it feel like?
Well, I've actually seen them up close before. So, but it's really neat from my perspective to see them in the factory, going through the production line of the various stages and how they actually build each of the panels. And you were mentioning how the panels look and they're very sharp edged and all that. But I was looking at how they actually affix them to the castings, and they have like a sub piece of metal that's affixed to the stainless steel, and then it's added onto that. So that was really cool to be able to see that. But I don't know. And the other thing for me is just seeing all of the stuff that has been brought to the factory in the factory working now, which is pretty cool.
How do you think the ramp's going to go? Because like with the Model 3 ramp, it was a shit show, but Model Y was much smoother, and now I feel like they've learned so much. I know this truck is so different than the 3 and the Y, but do you feel like they've learned so much that this is going to be a smoother ramp?
I think that the Cybertruck is obviously a different animal when it comes to the actual being able to produce it. And I think part of the complexity for it is the production line itself. Now, we saw a lot of that in work today,
Yeah, you were there today.
Right, I was.
What did you feel about being on the ground, seeing it in person?
Like I said, it was just amazing to me to be able to see all of the equipment, the parts, the platforms, everything put in. I was also really happy to see how much of the factory we were able to see, because we went from about midpoint of the factory all the way to the south wall, and all of the production lines, at least on the first floor. There's a lot more on the second and third floors. But I think it was just amazing to see how all that is working. The amount of automation, I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to do that with this or not, but it seemed like they had a lot of really great automation on it. As far as what they need to do, I was looking at the factory layout, and it looks like there's still a lot of room for more assembly of equipment, more testing, and to maybe make those lines more complete. So I think, going to your question about the ramp, I think they're battling getting the production line, and then they're battling making the car. Two different things, and I think that the ramp is going to be maybe slower than everybody would like, but I think they're going to be able to start, hitting their stride maybe the first quarter of next year, and then building from there.
Gotcha.
I could actually throw in just real quick. I think one thing is that Tesla's managed expectations a little better. With the Model 3, they were like, yeah, you'll get it soon. And now they're saying it's going to be slow. The second thing is just, it's not insider baseball or anything really, but I was asking one of the people on the line, and he said, he's like, I can't give you a number. I can't tell you how many come across, obviously. But he was like, when it's flowing really well, but then because it's ramping, a part will be missing, or a sequence will get out, and then it'll, so the whole thing will shut down, and then they're like scrambling. So it's, it's like this right now. But he says it's working really well so far.
When we see all of the Giga castings that are starting to stack up, is that a good sign? Does that mean that we can kind of almost judge the ramp by that, or do you think that has nothing to do with it?
I think to some degree, yes, because obviously you're going to need a front and rear casting to make the vehicle, so you're going to be looking at what castings are showing up. Right now, it looks to me, and from what I've kind of been hearing, is that they go in groups of rears for a while and then fronts for a while. And I think that has more to do with what's going on in the casting machine structure, with the setting up of the gigapresses, and also there's a huge ventilation system that they're adding in there, partly because of a furnace, but also because of the oil that they use to help make sure that the castings can be removed from the gigapress, and it's caused kind of some environmental issues. So they've been adding this huge ventilation system. You can see it on the roof with the ducted fans, and you also see where the windows were with a kind of a grate to let the air come through. So they're working through that as well. So they need to get, I think probably the first quarter that'll be resolved, and they'll have both of the gigapresses fully operational, and then we should start seeing a increase in the castings. And for me, looking at indicators, that will be something I'm looking for.
Right. Now, how about crash testing? Because a lot of people, we haven't really got any official crash test numbers, but we know they have a crash test facility at Giga Texas.
Right.
I think they've been crashing some of them, right? You've seen some.
Right. There were actually 3 crash tests. Sorry, was it 2 crash tests and 1 bullet hole one? So anyway,
Up at the front.
yeah.
There's 8 more over by the
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so they were out there, and the front crash test was, again, I spoke to one of the engineers who was there, and he was showing me that they've colored parts and everything for the crash tests, so that they can see exactly what happens as the crash happens, and they have cameras underneath it, high-speed cameras, all sorts of stuff. He was telling me that their simulators, that the software that they've created to simulate their crash tests is so accurate that he was like it was 1-to-1. Yeah, he was like, it's 1-to-1, there's no difference when we do it. So he's like, basically we can run 1 million crash tests in simulation before we even do a real one, because we know it's going to be just like that. And he was showing me how the motor, which is very heavy, it's on a sled, and obviously it just goes down and it just hits the ground as the front end gets crumpled. So it's really impressive stuff. Now, I did ask him about other people, and he said, you probably don't want to be in the other car if you get in an accident with the Cybertruck. He's like, it's probably going to win, so yeah.
That's interesting, because I feel like if this can match some of the other cars and be the safest pickup truck, that would be just a huge bet.
Yeah, just the fact that it doesn't roll over. They show that side rollover thing, so yeah, that's very impressive.
So what were some of your thoughts today? You were at the event. Were you at the event as well?
Yes, I was.
So what were your thoughts at the event in terms of the just the whole delivery of it? Like to us here, I think it felt very quick. Is that how it felt to you guys as well?
I think it was truly a delivery event. There was a lot of people wondering, are we going to get test drives? Are we going to see demos? Are we going to do whatever? But it turned out it was pretty much a delivery event as it was explained. And from that standpoint, I think it was outstanding, and the presentation was good. They did it in the end of line for the Cybertruck, which is really neat to see, because I don't know if anybody has actually seen that part of the factory before inside. Certainly not from inside. But I think for what it was billed as and what they did, I thought it was fine. And I think maybe some people were hoping for more, but I think it was really much on line with that. So I don't know what you have.
Yeah, I think the part that you didn't get to see was we got in a little after 1, maybe 1:10, and so we spent 50 minutes walking through the factory first. So unfortunately, the most interesting part of the entire tour was the part that you guys didn't get to see. Which was all the factory stuff.
But I did film the entire thing as a walkthrough all the way through.
Yeah, so we're going to we will be releasing that stuff. In fact, hopefully Scott and Hans and I will be up there in a little bit to talk about a small section of that.
Oh, great.
Just a bit, yeah.
That'd be great.
We were just trying to get the piece of the video out. But as far as the actual event was concerned, it was a little disappointing because it was just kind of like this, but there were 10 rows deep, and you couldn't see anything. So we like, you could barely see Elon's head sticking up over the crowd, and so it was fine. The energy was great. It did feel fast, but it was a delivery event. It was as it was billed.
What did you guys think about the pricing? We found out like right after the event was over, kind of on the website. We got the prices for the 3 models. Right. Was it what you expected? Anything not expected?
I think because we'd gotten a leak that the expensive one was going to be $100,000. It was like that was expected. And then I don't know. I think my wife and I were really happy with the 2-motor one for 80, which means you get the $7,500 cash credit, which is a big deal, which makes it about $72,500. So I was like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. I think the single motor version, if they ever make it, is going to be a little underwhelming. But they're also like 2025, and we'll see, someday.
Right.
So yeah.
And what about the battery extender? Do you think that? So this was kind of. The news came in weird here, where we're like,
right.
What is the battery extender?
Well, we didn't hear anything about it, so yeah. But a little birdie was talking to another little birdie there. I don't want to say individual names, but somebody who would know. And he said that it sounds like it might actually lay in the bed.
That's what we heard.
Right.
Yeah, it'd take up a third of the bed.
Yeah, and so
and
then
you
just take it out if you don't want it.
$16,000, right? We don't know what it looks like yet. But that it's going to add, 340 to 470,
right.
so
right.
130 miles of range.
Yeah. So I think it's for somebody like us that's not going to tow things very often. Obviously, it would not be the right thing to buy. But if you're using it as a work truck and you're towing things around all the time, it seems like a no-brainer that you'd want to get that.
Well, it seemed to me like it may be a stopgap engineering solution, because maybe they were hoping the energy density of the 4680s would be maybe 20-30% more than it is right now. So if you look at that size and what I just heard here now, that seems almost consistent with that. So I don't know, as they continue to develop the 4680s, maybe somewhere in the future they'll be able to have a higher range just built into the truck.
Do you think though?
Just real quick, that's the battery extender.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So there you go.
Okay.
Thank you for finding it.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so that's the battery extender.
Okay.
Do you think that
it kind of looks like a mini fridge on its side?
Right. Do you think that that's the kind of thing that Tesla will rent, or do you think you'll have to buy it? Because the thing is, it's going to weigh a lot, right? It's going to weigh. It's going to be at least 30 kilowatts hours of battery. It's probably going to weigh 500-600 pounds at least. So if you put it in, it's probably going to stay in for a while. If they rented it, I'm throwing this idea out. I don't know, but then you just rent it for a couple weeks while you're going on a long trip or something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It sounds possible, but it also sounds a little bit like battery swapping, when that didn't really work either. So. I'm just going off the cuff here because I didn't even really know about it until I got here, but I will see. But it might be a good, short-term business opportunity at the sales centers. You go down there and get it installed, do it for your week, and come back. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think that might be
here's
a
a weird conjecture.
Idea.
I was just thinking, what if they had these at some superchargers?
Right.
And you could just pull up and add it for the week or something.
Or even like an auto mechanic shop where they would have a crane to lift it, because it is going to be heavy.
Yeah, definitely.
So you just take it and plop it in there, and you use it for a couple of weeks, and then they take it back out, and you pay to rent per. Yeah,
but it does seem very
reasonable.
un-Tesla-like, like you were saying.
Right.
Like usually everything's all together. There's no plugging, So it seems weird that this is like an afterthought almost.
It feels a little bit like the Apple virtual reality headset that they're coming out with the battery pack down here. It's like, oh, we'll just put the battery here. It's like, it does feel a little weird, but it will get them up to close to 500 miles. So there you go.
No, I mean, that seems to be, everyone's kept saying that's the magic number they wanted if they're in the towing world, right? Because if you're not in the towing world, like you said, 500 is not necessary. We all know that by now. But with towing, maybe that's now you're down to 250, and so that seems to be. But, I will say, with supercharging network, I don't even know if you need 250. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the whole supercharger network in it itself is an underappreciated strength that Tesla has, and that could definitely be leveraged on that. I was thinking when you were talking about both the extender pack and the superchargers is how often are people truly going to need that extender pack? And that may be part of that calculation as well. They could say, if maybe 1 out of every 15 trips you may need that, then the superchargers can, bridge that gap.
Right.
So.
All right, well, I hear that some other truck
sounds like the other truck's coming.
So we'll make way for that. This is exciting. Oh, it has that headlight that you can spot from anywhere.
Oh, is it going to back in?
Oh, it might be backing in this
right.
time.
We get to see that rear steering.
Yeah, so if you're watching from home, you might be seeing some footage now of a second Cybertruck, or maybe our third, actually, of the day, who's coming in, and hopefully it's going to park under our 360 camera, so we're going to get some great shots for you. Looks like we're moving some cars out of the way or something.
I know. Well, it's big. There you go.
And if you're in the Austin area and you want to come on down, we're going to be here for quite some time. We're at the Lustre Pearl East on Linden Street in Austin, so come on down if you want to see a Cybertruck.
I know this is another idle thought here, but yesterday, Brian from My Tesla Weekend was interviewing me out of Giga, Texas, and I guess some of his followers were asking, is the Cybertruck have capability for left or right-hand drive steering?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, and I told Brian that as well, and I also don't know if it's drive-by-wire or if it's just mechanical steering. But today, when we were looking at that Cybertruck that was in the lobby, I was looking at the firewall because it was available. They have a cutout that's the same shape on both sides.
Oh.
So that seems like that may be an opportunity.
Yeah. And I can add to that. That's actually what we're going to talk about is the drive-by-wire.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, steer-by-wire is definitely
so now,
a thing.
legally, right, you have to have a mechanical backup at the moment for
I don't
NHTSA?
believe so.
Oh, really?
Yes, so we're going to actually talk about that. He said
great.
there's multiple levels of redundancy in there.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I mean,
really
this would
interesting.
really point to Robotaxi, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And it enables
stealing
us
your thunder there.
No, it's okay. No, we're going to talk about it. We have some video, so yeah, it'll be good.
Okay.
I don't know where the truck is. It's like
maybe he's having too much fun driving around.
it's like I'm not going to come back.
It'll be interesting to see who's driving this truck.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was the one we just saw a few minutes ago. That was one of the actual delivery ones, like the 10 delivery ones. That's pretty
crazy.
cool.
Maybe
And
it'll
really
be
good
Elon.
to hear that he just got a call from Franz on Tuesday and said, can you make it down here on Thursday to Austin? And
Yeah,
if so,
and oh, by the way, come up with $100,000
Right, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's like, ooh, okay.
Do we know what the specs are of the vehicles that were delivered? Were they tri-motor, dual motor, or?
I don't know.
Orbiting camera.
Try. We're hearing
Yeah, we
try
heard
from
that
the
all
audience.
of them were tri-motors. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why I was like,
Yeah.
ain't cheap.
Right.
All right.
Very cool.
Let's see if they get it there.
Did our
Track it
Cybertruck
down.
leave us?
He's having way too much fun tonight.
I know. I wouldn't want to stop anywhere tonight.
I know.
What do you think it's going to be like to own a Cybertruck for the first few weeks and months? It seems
Wow.
like you're just going to get mobbed everywhere.
Oh, you definitely are. It's going to be a
Dude.
thing.
All right.
Franz is okay, ladies and
No, don't tell it. Yeah. Ooh. Seriously?
Welcome the art creator himself, chief designer Franz van Holhausen.
Franz, thank you so much for joining us today. This is a momentous day, and we all want to thank you so much for designing this thing.
I didn't know I was going to get on a mic, but it's amazing. Thank you, I guess, for coming out and just believing in us and supporting us and working on this project. It's super exciting to finally see it on the road. It's been, something we've been working on for a long time, and it's going to change the landscape. It's an awesome machine. If anybody's been working on it, you know how badass this thing is. And yeah, hopefully we'll transform the landscape a little bit.
If you have a minute, I would love to ask you some questions.
All right, one minute.
Okay, here we go.
Go.
So when you were designing this truck, there had to be at one point where you drew this truck and Elon was like, yes. Were you happy or were you a little afraid when that happened?
No, I mean, like when I came up with the design,
Sure.
When I came up with the design, we made it into a model before we even showed it to Elon, and it was, instantaneous. Yes, this is what we're doing. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you
so
have
much.
to, Elon believed in this project from day one. There was a lot of people that didn't. This is super polarizing, and it's tough to, it's like so radically different. And Tesla could do anything, and could have done a normal looking pickup truck and killed it, of course. But this is also an opportunity to really change change the paradigm a little bit and bring the future forward. And thanks to Elon for really believing in this and what we do, and trying to make special products. We care about the products. He cares incredibly about the product and wants to get the best thing to the people. So,
Franz, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a wonderful night. Well, I mean, that was something. We got Franz here. I didn't want to bug him too much. He's had a very long, busy day at the end of a very long, busy while developing this truck. And I can't believe I'm standing next to one. This is, honestly, it's a little emotional. I think a lot of people around here, this is like something that we've been waiting for 4 years. And that is so exciting.
Isn't it, though?
It is.
I mean, it is a little emotional.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I think we're all going through this letdown moment where we've been building up and building up and building up, and now it's here.
It's here.
Oh man, let's hear it one more time for Franz and the whole team at Tesla, because this thing is amazing.
Yes. Let's just take a moment to take it in, huh?
Yeah.
Just take it all in. What I'm so excited about is that in the span of the next year, in the next 2 years, this is going to be driving around every American city. And there are going to be people who have not heard about this truck or haven't heard about Tesla. And they're going to see this driving on the road. And their reaction is going to vary. It is going to vary from, oh my God, that is the coolest thing, to we are being invaded by aliens, to that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And I hate it, right? But it is going to elicit a reaction, is it not? And I think that is probably the most important thing. No one can look at this truck and go like, whatever. Yes, exactly. Whatever, who cares? I don't need to know more about that thing. This screams, it demands attention, doesn't it? And it's got quite a few little tricks up its sleeve. First bulletproof truck you can buy. First truck you can up armor with like a little bit of welding experience, which is pretty cool. And it's gonna be amazing, isn't it? Who is so excited right now? I am so excited.
Yes.
Hey, everyone here,
Yes.
thank you so much for coming. This is just a dream come true. We put together this this whole event in about 30 days. So 30 days ago, we were like, what if we had a party and we invited a whole bunch of people and maybe
what if a
there would be
Cybertruck came?
What if that would be crazy? And maybe we could get Franz. I don't know. And so we were able to pull this together. I want to
What
thank
if Sandy would come?
I really want to thank our sponsors, Lex.art, Light Horse, Henson Shaving, and Expel. Thank you so much for helping to support this, for keeping us out of the rain. We would have been drenched. All of our camera gear would have been ruined. And thank you so much to Corporate Streams for putting this together. Everything that you see here, from this orbiting camera to the Steadicam, all came from them. So thank you so much for being here. And this is so exciting. Also, thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing would happen without this community. We would not be here without this community. This community is the best. Thank you. And so, yeah, I hope we're all going to have a really fun time. Has everyone had enough to drink? Are we all having a good time? No? Well, I think you've seen your fill of the Cybertruck. Maybe it's time to
yeah, so we're going to go to
think and drink about
commercial,
it.
and then we're going to have Sandy join us up on the stage. We're going to have some fun with Sandy. So we'll see you guys in a minute over there.
See you right over there.
In the heart of nature, where the symphony of the wild plays, a new performer quietly steps onto the stage, rewriting the rules of off-road adventure. With zero emissions and infinite possibilities. Light Horse. A tale of power told in electric whispers.
Are you ready to take your communication to the next level? Introducing Corporate Streams, providing painless solutions for live streaming since 2012. With Corporate Streams, you can transport attendees worldwide to the heart of your event with our cutting-edge audio and video, amplifying your message and making a lasting impact. Imagine attendees interacting with speakers and presenters through live chat and Q&A sessions regardless of their location. You can create an immersive, inclusive experience for participants no matter their circumstance. Say goodbye to the burdensome costs of traveling and venues. Our clients have reported savings of up to 86% compared to traditional events. Extend the lifetime of your event with on-demand content. Whether watching a missed session or revisiting key moments, no longer will your audience have to choose. It's time to elevate your communication with Corporate Streams, revolutionizing the way you connect, engage, and make an impact.
A good shave is a precise shave. But just how small is the scale of this precision? When we were initially experimenting with different blade gaps and blade exposures, we were surprised at the difference that microscopic changes made. For context, a piece of paper is about 4/1000th of an inch thick. Turns out, that's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
And we're back. Hi,
check.
everybody. We are over on the stage if you want to join us, but you can keep gawking at the Cybertruck. I will not blame you.
We're with our buddy Farzad Mazbahi. Check him out. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me? I can hear me. Hello.
If you can hear you, that's a good
I think I
sign.
can hear me.
Or maybe it's in your head.
Are you guys okay? You've been here for like 1,000 hours.
I think so.
Do you need any water?
I've been having visions
Were you
of
traveling?
Cybertrucks.
Like you were going to the Gigafactory.
Yeah,
you
how
did
was
more
it?
work than I was.
It was awesome, man. It was really cool.
I heard it was hot.
It was hot. It was a little warm in there. Yeah, it's been raining. It's a little humid in there, but it was awesome. It really did feel like a very quick event. You know, we got in. We saw a bunch of Cybertrucks. I was actually really surprised by how many Cybertrucks there were. Like, when you walk through the line, and I was listening to John as I was driving in, he was saying that was a really cool part of the thing was all the different Cybertrucks that they were building behind the scenes. And that was really cool to see because you got to see a lot of intricate details as far as what their processes are. All this, all the stuff behind the trim and stuff you can see. And then outside, they also had the two trucks that they used to shoot it. Like the shot it with the gun, and then the crash tested one. So you got to see all that stuff as well, like all the different pieces. So, and I put up a couple of videos of that on my channel for people to see if you're interested. So it's just really cool. It just went by really fast, man. It went by really fast, and now it's here. It's like, okay, there's a triangle right there. I can see the pointy thing right there.
Yep.
And it's sick. And then Franz shows up. He's like, hey, what's up? I got 1 minute. How you guys doing? Thank you, Franz.
We're getting asked to turn up the volume just a little bit in here.
In the house?
In the house, yes.
All right.
Turn up the house.
Nice.
Bring down the house. Yeah, but it was really cool. And thank you guys so much for putting this together. I think can you guys give these guys a round of applause, seriously, because these guys have been here all day.
Thank you.
I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. And the coolest thing about this community is that there's so much togetherness and so much selflessness, And the fact that you guys are willing to do this for as long as you have. Everybody who's here checking this out, supporting, Tesla and everything is like, I feel
It's
very
emotional.
I feel very honored to be part of this group,
Totally.
So it's so cool, man.
It
Yeah.
really is. I
Yeah.
feel honored. I feel so emotional today. I feel like I'm keeping it together because I'm on stage, but I would normally be crying right now. This is such an awesome
Should we do
day.
like a cry out right now?
Can we do a cry?
Yeah,
Just a
should
big
we
hug? No, really. I mean, I think just seeing this many trucks in person is different than seeing one truck because now it's like, this is real. They're actually making these. Like, this is legit.
Yeah, and I think that for a while now, people out in the world they've gotten used to seeing Model 3s. Maybe they know what they are or whatever, but it's going to be pretty hard to ignore the Cybertruck and to just be like, whatever,
What'd you guys think of the price when they announced it?
It took a little while to absorb it because
that hit. That hit, right?
We were
Ooh.
talking earlier that Elon first announced it at $39.9 for the lowest one. If with inflation, that'd be $47.7, but it wasn't $47.7. But I can see that if you take off the $7,500 tax credit, you do get close to that.
Yes.
So that's fair. But
Right.
then we don't think that's going to come out for a while, right? So now we're talking the high-end truck at 100. But I get it. If people want it bad enough, they're going to pay 100. I think it is the middle version, which most people have been talking about as kind of the dream version for them. Yeah. And so that's the big question: is bring it in under 80,000? Is that magical enough to get that $7,500 tax credit? And does that? So we're talking what, 72.5?
Something like that. Yeah.
Is that a good number? I don't know.
What's really interesting is how they're doing the extended range version.
Yeah.
So instead of, and I was listening to you guys' conversation, or y'all's conversation, God forbid we're in Texas, my God, you guys, what am I doing to myself? But the big thing that they've been talking about is, hey, we're heading into 2026, 2027. As EV demand grows, there's going to be a potential shortage of batteries. And the last thing they want to do is put batteries in vehicles that are not going to be used. And so the extended range strategy, I think it's a very clear sign that says, hey, there's probably going to be a little bit of a problem from a shortage perspective, but then it also highlights that the targets they had for 4680 were not met. And I think that's another legitimate one as well. But I think it's twofold. I think there's two things going on there. What's going to be interesting to see with that extended range version, I think, is the uptake. Like, I'm curious to see, you're going to have The dual motor, 340 plus miles. The range extended gets you to 470. It's 16 grand, right? But if you're able to get dual motor at 80 with a $7,500 tax credit, that's 72.5 with 16, that's 88, right?
Look at this math whiz over here.
Yeah,
Bang.
it's just numbers, bro. Come on, keep up. But I think the uptake of that is going to be a signal that says, are people seriously considering an electric truck as a hauler, as something that's actually going to pull stuff, you know? Because that's been the biggest sort of knock against electric vehicles is like, hey, if I want to go 500 miles and use it that one time to tow 11,000 pounds, I'm not going to be able to do it. That theoretically gives you the option to do it, and I'm curious to see how many people are actually willing to take that option.
I don't even know if you need to do it, though. I mean, everyone does use 500 miles as the magic number because if you divide it in half, that's 250, blah, blah, blah. But do you really need that much if you have a supercharger network? I don't know the answer, to be honest.
I think it's really a question of, like, what are you hauling? How long are you hauling it? I can imagine a professional car hauler could say, the total cost of ownership of this truck is going to save me a whole bunch of money, plus I really want this truck. And getting the extended range not only gets me a faster truck, which is cool as hell, it's also going to mean less supercharger stops on the way down to Florida, you know, lugging grandma's car down to Florida. So I can see how for that sort of aspect where you're going to be towing long range all the time, totally makes sense to have an extended range. If they didn't have an extended range, you can't get the truck. Now you can. It's 16 grand more, but you're probably using it professionally.
Yeah, and I think it's two separate things. It's like the ability to do it is one thing, and then the affordability of it is like a separate thing. And right now we're not there, right? It's obvious that we're not there. You can't have like an affordable EV with a lot of range, and like 500 plus.
And we don't have any Tesla trucks on the road we don't have any electric trucks that can use the supercharger network at the moment. I feel like somebody who gets that dual motor and starts towing with it is going to find that there are enough superchargers. It might be a pain because you're going to have to stop more frequently, but it's doable. So when the family wants to go to Yosemite or whatever, they're going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
It's just a question of like, how much longer is that trip going to take, and is it worth $16,000 to get the extended range to make that trip a little bit faster?
Yeah, I think the other thing too to think about is like, is this truck a traditional buyer's truck, or is it going to create its own market, right? Because if you think about the traditional truck market and how they think about, so one of my really good friends in Texas, his name's Travis, and he has an F-250, and ever since I showed him the Cybertruck, he's like, this thing's a piece of shit. What the, it's like, he's just going on it. Like, my F-250 will kick its ass. I can't wait to show him the videos for today, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing, and this is how, like, I don't want to create stereotypes, but I think that there's a certain truck buyer out there that says, my truck, I can spend 60, 65, 70 on an F-250 or a low-end 350 or whatever, and I can do that once in a while, 500-mile trip towing, right? And that gives them a sense of security, because that's what I feel like being American is that. It's like, I want to do that one thing at that one time when I'm alive, right?
Yep.
And so, like, is that what it's going for? Is that going to be its key market, or is it going to create its own market?
I think that being able to say it could do it really answers that question, I think, for a lot of people, and it'll shut them up, that stereotype where it's like, yeah, but what if I want to tow blah, 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 and it's like, well, you can get the extended range one, and sure, there's a comeback to that, but I don't think that it really matters.
I think there's also going to create a new dynamic, because I think many of us, it's so expensive to think about doing something like that, where the gas and so forth. I feel like with electric, they're going to see how cheap it is, and I feel like maybe not towing a big camper, but these new campers like space campers, I feel like are going to be so efficient that a lot of people are going to discover that way of camping, and maybe that'll create like a new paradigm shift in all this.
And it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to talk about towing all day. It's, again, something you're going to do probably less than 1% of the time. The rest of the time, you're going to be driving around a truck, and the gas mileage isn't that much better towing. If you have a gas truck, it's going to be that much more expensive to fuel. And so do you really want to own that F-250 or whatever just in case? Or would you rather have the Cybertruck every day and it still can tow, damn it?
Yeah. I think the other thing too is by the time Tesla's able to make enough trucks to potentially start eating away that market, like 2026, 2027, Then we have to take into account savings from economies of scale. You have to take into account savings from the 4680 going to the next few generations, right? Maybe new manufacturing practices. Maybe, I don't know, we have some sort of deflationary thing happening because of automation and artificial intelligence. So I think that's where the story gets really, really interesting. It's like today's pricing, it came higher than I expected. I thought 70,000 for a dual motor, 300 to 350 miles, and then beast mode was 89. That was like my final prediction. It was 10 above, right? Plus the extended range that took it a little bit further on the top.
So you were really off.
I was very off. On
I
the
was
top
too.
end, I was
But you
very
were hoping
off.
like I was. I think
I
like,
was optimistic. I mean, and I was also, falsely using the initial specs that we got from 2019. And I did that inflation factor on top. And I'm like, well, it's also going to be more because there's going to be more demand. But of course, it turned out to be even more than that. But I would be like 2 to 3 years from now. I'm not going to say that 79,000 won't be the price forever for a dual motor, but I wouldn't be surprised if, like the rest of the lineup, they either add more range or they lower the price over time.
Well, because I think Tesla has a demand problem. They have too much demand. They have 2 million people signed up for this vehicle.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
Maybe that number is lower, blah, 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 but that's a big problem because they're not going to be able to deliver 2 million trucks in a reasonable amount of time. So you have high demand, you're going to do what the market demands you do and raise the price.
But I do think that 2 million is going to be less after this pricing came out
Of course.
today. Yeah,
but that's what they need.
It'll be, I 100% agree.
It can't stay 2 million. They're
Correct.
in trouble.
They're actually going to have a place to sell.
It's a demand problem.
Very true. 100%.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, as of course.
When can we
Doofus
start
Gordon
talking
Johnson.
about the robots making the trucks? I feel like when we talk about it now, nobody believes us, but I feel like it is going to happen very soon. And I think the thing I want to talk about is, for me, a robot seems impossible. It seems like, I don't even know where you begin, but I think for Elon, it's a bunch of motors and some actuators and some software that he's already figured out, and he knows that it's going to cost him, $30,000 or something. So when he can turn that part on, isn't this whole game change?
Yeah, if it works, absolutely. Like there's no reason why it wouldn't change, right? So the promising thing there, Andrej Karpathy put out a video a couple of days ago where he was explaining a large language model for dummies, right? And then he was also using the work they were doing with FSD and the Tesla bot and figuring out how to kind of bring those two things together. And it's becoming really obvious that what Tesla has created with FSD, the foundation, and they've said it before, but it's quite obvious that all they have to do is just feed data from the bot for it to work. They don't have to build anything else from scratch. It's already there. The foundation's there. So now it just becomes a matter of having the bot learn how to do the motions and then figuring out a manufacturing process so that your bot is less than outfitting an entire factory full of robots, right? And that seems, from a mathematical perspective, you sit down and do the math, from a raw materials perspective, you're like, of course this is going to work. But the bot has to do the motions. They have to do the movements. Optimistically, if you want to be optimistic about it.
I do.
Me too. Who doesn't? Probably like 2026, bot will start influencing the cost of goods sold on the Cybertruck, if I were to guess, in some way. It might be like small, but if it's as simple as move part from A to B, that is so much of manufacturing. I don't think a lot of people understand. Move part from point A to point B is like 98% of it, right?
Yes.
And if the bot can be involved in that, all of a sudden you get huge drops in COGS, cost of goods sold. That's what it stands for. So, but it might take a while to get enough bots in there to be part of the process. Yeah.
But that starts solving a whole lot of other problems, right? Because right now, Tesla is ramping up and they're going to have labor shortage problems, right? And then you don't have to deal with the whole UAW problem I don't think they can unionize yet, right? Bots.
Last time I heard that's not the case. And if they can, boy, are we...
Yeah. When your smart TV has to go on a union break.
I don't feel like watching Netflix right now.
Yeah.
I'm on my break.
There's one other thing, too, with the Cybertruck is that the thing we have to remember is that the manufacturing process for the Cybertruck is supposedly, from what we've seen so far from Tesla, what I saw at the factory, significantly less parts than a traditional truck, but significantly less parts than, say, a Model S or even a Model 3. Yeah, if you think about it, everything's casted. it's just a bunch of castings. It's 48-volt architecture, which reduces how much wiring you're going to put in there, and like they're going to streamline the harnesses. The new technology is going to come from the manufacturing processes and the type of equipment that they put in the truck, but it's a huge simplification of the process. So that is also going to help with manufacturing.
Let's talk about the 48 volts, because I think for a lot of us who don't know much about cars, 12 volts, 48 volts, who cares? But this is the first production vehicle that we know of that's done 48 volts. Can you kind of give us an idea of why that's such a big deal?
Yeah, so this is where I'm actually very excited to talk to Sandy about once we bring him on stage too. And I let him kind of really go deep in this. But really the biggest savings come from huge cost savings and also huge weight savings. So with the 48-volt system, you basically reduce the weight by about 70%. And then with the 48-volt architecture, you're going to have a lot more reliability because you're not sort of depending on this old school 12-volt architecture that's just not going to be nearly as reliable as a 48. So it's a cost and the weight savings, and then when you have the weight savings, it's also a downstream cost savings because that means you need less batteries. Even though it's a little bit of weight, you're still getting a little bit of savings from that side as well. But that's where Sandy's going to be able to give us a lot of insight as to why that's such a big deal.
What do you think the other automakers are doing today? Like, do you think they're bothering to watch this, or do you think they already think they know, or do you think they're all going into like bunker mode?
I mean, what's interesting about the other automakers is that they've been very upfront about how they're not taking this transition seriously, right? They've already come out and said, we're going to delay our plans to make an EV. GM, Ford, VW is delaying their plans for their battery factories. So there's already a signal out there that says, hey, what we're making already, people don't want. So why would we even try to compete with that thing, right? If I'm an executive that's making that decision already, I don't think there's any planet where that same executive is going to say, yeah, but we're going to make something to go against that thing. What they're going to do is they're going to try to use their existing lineup and try to justify it as a superior product to the Cybertruck, and they'll say, buy our Toyota Tundra hybrid that, you know, is just a truck that has been around forever, but it has a 7 kilowatt-hour battery, and I will get the $7,500 credit, you know? So that's, I think that's the direction legacy automakers are going. They're going to try to use marketing and advertising to try and convince people that their inferior product is actually superior.
So, I mean, do you think that they're actually going to regress? Because I feel like we made some progress, right? Like, we got some electric vehicles from these companies. We begged and screamed and threatened them, and they finally started to do it. And now they're, like, regressing, right? Do you think that the arguments that they're going to start pulling out of their hats are going to be the old arguments that we've already debunked? And we're going to have to debunk them again because they've fallen down in the algorithm, and they're going to say, like, oh, electric cars actually aren't that good.
I don't know if they're going to regress. The way I would define it is that they're going to try to lean really heavy into hybrid technology, and they're going to say, you don't really want EVs, you want hybrids. Right. Because that does two things for them. One is it allows them to utilize their existing manufacturing processes that they have built for gas cars, because hybrids are just gas cars. And I'm not trying to like say hybrids are terrible cars. I'm just saying.
I am.
Okay, you can. You can take the heat.
Yeah.
Right here, that's your guy. So that's one thing, right? So you're going to be able to leverage your existing manufacturing process to keep your costs down. And then once you put a big enough battery that gets a tax credit in the United States, then you get the other side of it where you have this lever you can pull that's going to allow you to keep your cost competitive versus a competing EV. But what's going to happen over time is that you're going to end up having this shift where you're going to go from gas cars back in 2015, 2020 being cheaper than EVs, and then you're going to go fast forward 5 years, you're going to have hybrids that are going to be more expensive than EVs because people are just shifting away from pure gas cars. That's what I mean, it seems quite obvious that's what's happening. And legacy automakers, if you look at their financials with the amount of debt that they have and just how just unwilling or incapable they are to shift to the new technology, they're going to have no other choice to appease their investor base that is all very happy about dividends, and God forbid they kind of do something where the dividends go away, or the stock buybacks that GM just did. They can't do anything to upset that balance. So that's where hybrids are going to be very helpful for them. But I think the consumer at some point is going to be like, do I pay a premium on a hybrid, or do I just buy a freaking EV? And I think that's where we're going to go.
I want to hear more about your comments from GM when we come back. We're going to go to a sponsor break right now. I want you guys to, again, hands together for Farzad and also our sponsors. We'll be back in a minute.
To the next level, introducing Corporate Streams, providing painless solutions for live streaming since 2012. With Corporate Streams, you can transport attendees worldwide to the heart of your event with our cutting-edge audio and video, amplifying your message and making a lasting impact. Imagine attendees interacting with speakers and presenters through live chat and Q&A sessions regardless of their location. You can create an immersive, inclusive experience for participants no matter their circumstance. Say goodbye to the burdensome costs of traveling and venues. Our clients have reported savings of up to 86% compared to traditional events. Extend the lifetime of your event with on-demand content. Whether watching a missed session or revisiting key moments, no longer will your audience have to choose. It's time to elevate your communication with Corporate Streams, revolutionizing the way you connect, engage, and make an impact.
In the heart of nature, where the symphony of the wild plays, a new performer quietly steps onto the stage, rewriting the rules of off-road adventure with zero emissions and infinite possibilities. Light Horse, a tale of power told in electric whispers.
A good shave is a precise shave. But just how small is the scale of this precision? When we were initially experimenting with different blade gaps and blade exposures, we were surprised at the difference that microscopic changes made. For context, a piece of paper is about 4/1000th of an inch thick. Turns out, that's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
Hey Jesse, can you grab that seat?
It's just fun, so I just keep doing it. You met Kimball, I saw today, like just real briefly. Oh yeah, for like a hot second. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
All right, everybody. Well, I am so pleased. We're going to be having a panel here with Eli, Starman, and we are also going to be having Sandy Monroe up on the stage. So please welcome Starman.
Come on, big round of applause. I know, right?
All right, guys, we're going to be having a panel here in just a minute once we get a few more seats set up. How you guys doing tonight? Did everybody get a photo with Franz von Holthausen? Franz, if you're still here, thank you so much for joining us. That made this night absolutely incredible. This is spectacular. This is the era of the Cybertruck. All right, I'm going to introduce my panelists, starting with Kim Java. Welcome to the stage. Give a round of applause for Kim Java.
Hey, Kim, here's your mic. Here you go, Kim.
Ryan, whichever one walks first. Ryan from Kilowatts. Welcome, brother. And last but not least, Ryan McCaffrey from Ride the Lightning. Welcome up, Ryan. All right, so guys, the topic of this conversation is going to be the disruptive power of the Cybertruck. As Elon Musk said tonight, and all of us very well know, there has never been a vehicle made quite like the Cybertruck. But I think before we go down this route, I think the perfect place to start is we have a member of this panel who owned the closest vehicle that ever was to the Cybertruck. Then that is the DeLorean. So Ryan McCaffrey, I'm going to give it away with you. What is your take on how the Cybertruck is going to change the game, specifically with your experience as a DeLorean original owner?
Well, first of all, I never thought I would see the day when anyone else would build a stainless steel car ever again. Because it costs a lot.
Go ahead and bring the mic a little closer. It's loud.
It costs a lot of money. It lasts too long. You know, car companies want you to buy new cars every 8 to 10 years. My DeLorean, when I sold it in 2012, it was 31 years old at that point, looked better than when I bought it when it was 19 years old, because I'd had done a little work on the stainless steel finish. And the Cybertrucks that are starting to roll out of Austin now will look as good in 50 years as they look today. Even if they get scratched up, they'll be heavy-duty Scotch-Brite, blend those scratches right out. So that to me is really, it is the signature feature why I'm interested in buying a Cybertruck. If this were a regular steel-bodied, painted vehicle, I would probably, I've never owned a truck, and I would probably continue that. But stainless steel, it's so easy to care for. Yes, it's going to be fingerprinted, as you've already probably seen today, but just keep a little thing of Windex in your center console and just a microfiber cloth. Fingerprints will wipe right off, and you never have to worry about bird poo because there's no paint for that poop to etch into. You never have to worry about sun damage. There's no waxing the finish. So it is just going to be the easiest vehicle to maintain in terms of its fit and finish that you've ever had. And that's what I love about it.
Thank you, Ryan. Can you guys all hear us okay? Yeah, volume's good. Fantastic. All right, so one of the big numbers, and I'll let anybody who wants to field this one take it, one of the big numbers that we surprisingly didn't hear on the live stream, but we had to go find on the website, was range. So what do you guys think about range, and how does that impact your buying decision and your use case for the vehicle? Yeah, so on to that, the range is obviously not what we were hoping for, but still very good. My interpretation is the Cybertruck is a vehicle designed to be a bit different. It's a little bit more of a car. As much as it is a truck, it's also a car. And so my use as someone who focuses on car sharing, on basically, using other people's cars around town, it's obviously still more than satisfactory. You still have supercharging up to 250 kilowatts. We may even see that get better over time. I think that the range is very good, especially, again, supercharging network. But yes, anyone who wants to tow, that's kind of where this started to become slightly less interesting. So range extender for towing is meaningful and different. Otherwise, 300 miles for most people's use of a SUV that just so happens to be a truck, it's awesome. 300 plus miles is still awesome, but yes, I know there's gonna be a lot of people that do tow that are either gonna need that range extender or are gonna seek other vehicles. So let's talk about you specifically, because I remember you initially pre-ordered 20 Cybertrucks because you were going to include these as part of your rental fleet. So now that you have these specs, what's your plan? What configuration are you gonna go with? And who do you think's gonna wanna rent that vehicle, right? So for context, guys, Ryan is in the San Francisco Bay Area. He runs a large fleet of Teslas that's on Turo and his own platform that I'll let him tell you about to compete with Turo, because Turo sucks.
But yeah, very interested to hear of who you think is going to be the customer for that.
Who isn't going to want to rent them?
Yeah, no, yeah. This is arguably the best vehicle out there when you just consider a vehicle. When you consider a truck, it's maybe not the best truck. Again, I think it might be the best vehicle out there. So as Ryan McCaffrey said, yes, this is a very desirable vehicle at $60,000 starting price for the rear-wheel drive. Honestly, again, in the San Francisco Bay Area, maybe other than going to Tahoe, it's going to be a phenomenal rental vehicle. So on dispatch, we're going to host any and all electric vehicles. And yeah, I think this will be absolutely the best out there, especially all-wheel drive. Sure, the price is a bit higher than we were hoping for, but the experience of what is arguably the best utility vehicle on the road ever, and then backing up to what Ryan McCaffrey said, unpainted, don't worry about sun damage. That exterior body is just gonna last and last and last. You don't have to worry about those small scratches. So as a rental vehicle, as a shared vehicle, this is an ideal vehicle.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Ryan. All right, let's go in an entirely different direction. Kim, do you plan on buying a Cybertruck?
So we did pre-order 4 years ago. So I would say absolutely yes. My husband, on the other hand, is a little more conservative because we don't necessarily need 3 vehicles. But I would like to. I actually need to talk to you more about this because one of my ideas on justifying buying it obviously would be to make content for our channel, but I would love to rent it out in the Atlanta area and kind of learn more about how to do that as well to justify it. But I do love it. I've always been a fan of the design of it. I think it's cool. So overall, though, in terms of range and things like that, I kind of want to go back to that because my family does take a lot of road trips. And I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest, about the range. I wanted more range. 300 miles, it has to be that. But more, to me, is always better. There's a lot of times we drive places and we don't have good destination charging. And it would be nice not to have to worry about that. So to me, more range is always a plus. The range extender itself, we were looking, I was talking with Ryan earlier, and it's the design of where it fits in the truck. It really takes up a lot of space, and it doesn't look like what I imagined Tesla would have.
Careful, the lead designer's here.
That's true. But to me, it's I don't know. It doesn't. This is my opinion. These are just my opinions. But I mean, I love the truck. I love the truck. The range extender.
Okay, so here's my question. Will you use the Cybertruck differently than you would already, like, let's say, take a road trip on your Model X? So would this be like in place of your Model X, or will you go places with it that maybe you couldn't on the Model X? Like, have you thought that through yet?
Yeah. So we like to travel and bring our bikes with us when we travel. And right now we throw them on the back of the Model X. And we also have electric bikes, and they're really heavy. So I would like to be able to, when we go on those kind of road trips with the kids and the family, be able to just put all that stuff in the back of a truck and not have to worry about it at all. Also, sometimes there's a lot of lakes in Georgia where I live. We could pull like a jet ski or something. All that utility that we don't necessarily, with our X, we don't have it. Now, the X I will still use as my main car because it has 3 rows and I need that with 3 kids. But I think the Cybertruck, there's so much, that second row today was the first time I got to go inside and like see it, and there's so much space in there and it's so comfortable. Even for an adult to sit in that second row was fantastic.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kim. So one of the big things tonight that Tesla unveiled that is actually very out of character for Tesla is range has always been part of the main battery pack. Tesla tonight, for the first time, has offered a secondary range upgrade that is going to be apparently available after you take initial delivery of the vehicle. And I'll let whoever wants to take this. What's your take on that? Because this is like a new product format for Tesla that we have never seen before.
So we've heard Elon say a lot about how you only want to go so far with range because otherwise people are just kind of hauling around a bunch of batteries that they'll never actually use. And I think that's exactly why they've done this range extender, is because it's saying they're going to they're going to only ship the number of batteries, the minimum number of batteries that they absolutely need to. So they're saying effectively, if you want the full maximum range that we can offer, you need to opt into this as an aftermarket accessory, and that way, you're not just forcing every tri-motor customer or every dual motor customer to buy a 470 mile range vehicle when probably the majority of those customers are never going to need anywhere close to that range. So they're effectively having you opt in, thus saving their, as of now, limited 4680 battery cell supply by quite a bit.
I think my main question is, how easy is it going to be to remove and add that back in? Is that something you can do at home, even with like a winch? Like, how is that going to be possible?
I was doing the rough math with somebody earlier off stage, and it seems like it's probably going to be on the order of 50 kilowatt hours or so when you kind of look at it's 130 miles of range, and it's about a third of the pack. So I can't imagine it will be light enough for a normal
more than
person.
a couple £100.
Yeah, I think you're going to need service center installation on this, and I'm not sure it's coming out unless you take it back to the service center. We don't know, but I can't imagine it's just going to be a thing that you lift out and keep in your garage when you're not using it, because that invites all sorts of fun other problems, like what if water is flowing through your garage, and so that's going to be. It does seem like it's going to be a service center situation in my eyes.
Absolutely.
And then if that's in there all the time, you lose some of the utility and the space that you would have in the bed of your truck.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the other piece of this, which is price, right? So that was probably the biggest change since the unveiling, is the price to range to capability. How do you think the market is going to respond in general? How do you think this is going to impact the reservation list, right? Because reservations were under a certain set of assumptions, and Tesla's not entirely to blame for the assumptions that have changed, right? Everybody's been impacted by inflation. I mean, interest rates are 7% to buy a home. The world's a different place, but how do you think the average buyer who's thinking about buying a Cybertruck today is going to be impacted by these new numbers and these new metrics?
I'll briefly jump on this first, just as someone that previously had a Rivian R1T. I think that other than the certain things that make this a unique vehicle, the stainless steel and how long it'll last, it is a more competitively in-line vehicle. And I think we were all kind of thinking it was going to be blowing everything out of the water. If you look just at the spec sheet, it's more competitively in line, which I think will encourage other people to, do I like the way certain things look better? Or it's more in line, and I think that as a result, some people that were on the fence are going to go for other vehicles. That's good. But those of us who are here are probably
People that really want it now will actually get it, and the people that don't want it, well, someone else can take your reservation and move up the line faster. I do think it was priced a little bit higher than I was expecting. I'm not going to lie. I wish it was less and make it a little more affordable. But I think also we kind of have to disregard some of the numbers that we all heard 4 years ago, because it's a completely different time. So much has happened since that event. So much things that no one could have ever expected. And we have, COVID and war that we're about, all this stuff. So it's completely different climate that we're in right now. And when you look at other trucks, it's competitively priced, like what Ryan said. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think anybody reasonably expected the 2019 prices to hold in the end, but I do think there are a lot of people that put down their $100 4 years ago hoping for a $40,000 version that's not going to happen. And so I think that those of us who are going to stay in line, I think a lot of people will ultimately either hold off or drop out, which will allow the rest of us to get our trucks a whole lot faster.
Fantastic. So I want to give out a shout out to our sponsor, Expel. Expel's a local shop here in Austin that does wraps for vehicles. They're going to be wrapping Cybertrucks. And this leads into my next question. Wrap or not to wrap, and why?
Definitely wrap. Because
Why?
why not? I wrapped all of my vehicles with Expel. It's so much fun. I mean, I feel like that's one of the reasons why I love the Cybertruck to me is that it is a completely clean slate and there's so much you can do with it. Like I'm already thinking of all these mods you could do with that truck and really customize it to whatever you want. So for me, it's a definite 100% I would wrap it.
Do you have any idea what your wrap's going to be yet?
I'm not sure yet. I really don't know. I have to kind of play around, look at the deck.
All right, we'll see it on Instagram.
So, having owned a DeLorean, I have no intention of ruining all the advantages of stainless steel by wrapping it. A wrap requires care and maintenance. Stainless steel does not. Also, on a similar note, on the way over here, I saw that a ton of Cybertruck accessories went on to the shop.tesla.com page. One of those, some of them are the wraps. There's a black color-changing PPF and a white one. Great. But there's also a clear one that's $5,000. Please, no one waste $5,000 on clear PPF for your Cybertruck because it doesn't need to be wrapped. It's scratch resistant. You're not protecting anything with a stainless steel finish with clear PPF. If you're going to wrap it, change the damn color of it and personalize it, but do not do clear, I beg of you.
As someone that has wrapped multiple vehicles myself, multiple Tesla vehicles, wraps are very interesting. I'm just going to quick overview. So there is vinyl wrap that mostly just changes the color. It's very thin, not meant to protect the vehicle. There's PPF. That is, as you were just saying, generally clear.
And lasts longer.
Thicker, lasts longer. Expel, the sponsor.
Stealth.
They are well known as being one of the best, if not the best, at providing that. And then there's colored PPF, what Tesla just recently started rolling out. You can buy, so yes, you can buy black and white colored PPF, which is going to last the longest. Unlike vinyl, it's not going to get cut as easily. So I do understand why they're choosing colored PPF, because it's roughly as tough. Definitely not, no, I shouldn't say that. It's not as tough as stainless steel, obviously, but it's more tough. Vinyl tears easily. If you run a key through it, you're going to cut it. PPF, you run a key through it, you can actually it's fine. So all that is to say, I think a lot of people should customize it. If you want to wrap it yourself, it's a fun thing to learn. On flat surfaces, it's easier. Am I there? On flatter surfaces, it's easier. So vinyl, if you want to do it yourself, go for it. Colored PPF, it's harder, but it'll last more like the material. And as Ryan said, at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with just plain stainless steel. It is a beautiful vehicle. It's just going to look like every other single Cybertruck in the parking lot.
That's a great point. Cybertruck is going to be a vehicle that is the best case for a DIY wrap. The curves on a Model S, an X, a Y, it's incredibly difficult. I mean, I had mine professionally done right before Cybertruck came out, as it turned out. Brushed steel, they had to redo so many panels, and they were professionals. I would never do that myself. But Cybertruck, I bet you there's some members in this audience even here that are going to successfully be able to do that themselves. That's going to be fun.
And just specifically, so what makes wrapping a car hard is rounded surfaces. Anything more like a ball, think about putting a piece of paper on a beach ball versus putting a piece of paper on a wall. The Cybertruck is much more like a wall than a beach ball. It's going to be so easy to wrap. I encourage people, try it. Get a little bit of material, try it on a panel, and decide whether or not you want to do the whole vehicle.
I agree with everything Ryan's saying 100%. Especially with like the vinyl would tear pretty easy, so you do want to either put a PPF over it or do the combination wrap, for sure.
So we know now all the features that the Cybertruck has, but let's talk about now. I want to hear from you guys the features, the functionalities that you were hoping to see that is, from all we know to date, not made it into the final production vehicle.
Boat. I wanted to see it go on water. I wanted to see the Cybertruck swim. I was kind of disappointed.
So do you think it doesn't have boat mode based on the presentation?
I don't know. It could. I think it might still, but it hasn't been announced, so I don't know. I don't know.
I'll be honest.
Who's going to be the first YouTuber to put it to the test? They'll probably, even if they sink their truck, they'll probably make enough money off the views to buy another one.
That's a good point.
I think out of spec, maybe, or whistling diesel. I could see them doing it, but someone should definitely do it.
So what about the two of you? What features were missing in the vehicle that you wanted to see that aren't there?
People are not going to like me for this one. I wanted the Cybertruck to be dead simple. I don't necessarily, like, while I love that it can turn quickly and easily, I would have been fine without rear wheel steer if it would save me a couple $1,000. So given, again, I'm a car sharing focused guy, I want people to experience the best vehicles out there. For car sharing, I think rear wheel steer introduces potentially more risk than it benefits, but I do think it also makes it, I do think it also makes it a better vehicle.
I mean, the obvious one is the tailgate ramp, right? That's now that is one of the accessories on the shop, although it's not the same ramp on the prototype. It's like a ladder-looking thing to actually, like, you know, it's not something you're going to drive a little ATV or something up. But you know, outside of that, it's kind of hard to complain about the feature set of this truck. You know, the air suspension. We all knew it had an air suspension, but tonight we got to see how quick it is. You know, some cars, the air suspension takes forever to make it, you know, up and down. Cybertruck, it gets up and down quick when you need it to. It's nice to have the little accent LED light strip in there, which now the Highland 3 has, of course, too, and I'm guessing the S and the X will have it any minute now, probably. And steer-by-wire, like that's something that from just various videos of all the engineers driving release candidates around, a lot of us suspected when they're pulling in and out of supercharger stalls, and you see the wheels turn really fast. You go, well, that's in a regular, you know, manual steering wheel turn. That's not how it goes. So steer by wire should be really comfortable, I would think, in practice. And that's another thing where the S and X will probably also get steer by wire sooner rather than later, which will make the yoke option on those vehicles a little more appealing maybe than they have been so far.
I've got a question. Do you think that alludes to a potential Plaid Plus, or would that just be put on the Plaid for Model S and X?
Well, I think you're getting into four-motor territory at that point. If you're talking about,
I don't know what to call it, but it
I mean, that's Roadster territory.
Maybe Roadster.
Hey, Franz, can you build my Roadster, please? Where are you, buddy?
Franz, get us
I
a
need
Roadster.
the next-gen Roadster. That's next, and that'll have steer-by-wire too, and four motors, no doubt.
That was fantastic. Thank you, guys. So let's talk about it for this final point about how we know the way the mainstream media is going to go after this vehicle. It's going to be Tesla Cybertruck versus the F-150 versus the Ford Lightning. How do you think that's actually going to stack up, and where do you think the market understanding of this vehicle is going to get it wrong?
I think all of mainstream media is going to get it wrong, for sure. I think it's just right to be torn apart because people are going to say it's too expensive and blah, blah, blah. I already saw a meme where they're like how it started versus how it's going, and it showed the steel ball versus like the baseball. Like, I mean, we already know this. It's all the FUD that just surrounds Tesla, and it's, yeah.
I'll say, you know, Elon is known for overpromising and overpromising and delivering, underpromising, over-delivering. Both happen. I think in this case, we've had so much expectation that if you just take the vehicle for what it is, it's an incredible vehicle. But as you're saying, the mainstream media is going to look at the promise versus the reality and say, yes, certain things were missed. Range, cost. But if you look at what this vehicle is, there's a lot of things, you know, LED lighting, rear wheel steering, drive-by-wire. I think its tow capacity is greater than what it was initially rated for. So yes, you can pick it apart for the things that it's not. You could pick it apart for the things that it's not, or you could look at what it is, and it's an incredible, maybe the best vehicle, as I said earlier.
I'll tell you, I actually think there's very little overlap between a Cybertruck buyer, a Rivian R1T buyer, and a Ford F-150 Lightning buyer. I think that they're all very good in general, but I think they're all good at different things and appealing to different buyers. I mean, I think they're just all going to steal ICE truck customers away, and that's the end goal,
Hell
right?
yeah.
That's what we all want to see. So, yeah, I mean, I just think they each speak to a different type of buyer in a very good way. I mean, our Rivian's kind of got that Land Rover lifestyle outdoor thing going on. The Lightning is very much a utilitarian work truck, and the Cybertruck kind of blends it all, but you've got to be willing to accept super bold styling, which not everybody will, but you know, I'd be happy driving any of the three of them, but obviously given my Tesla history, yeah, I mean, I'm all in on a Cybertruck. I want the second stainless steel vehicle ever made after being lucky enough to own the first one that was ever made. So I can't wait to get mine.
And on that note, like with what you're saying about the different buyers for each vehicle, the one thing I think that Cybertruck has that maybe the other ones don't have is that you're going to get a lot of crossover between people who have never owned a truck and are not buying a truck for a truck with Cybertruck.
Great point.
So,
Fantastic, guys. Before we wrap this up, starting with Kim, please tell everyone where your channel is here and watching this on the live stream, where they can find you, what you do.
my channel is on YouTube. It's called Kim Java. So that's me. We try to post maybe 2, sometimes 3 times a week. And you can find me on Instagram, X, it's Kim Java.
I'm Ryan from the Kilowatts. We're all over the place, but mostly now focusing on dispatch. That's what these shirts are for. So focusing on car sharing, a brand new company. I've got my 3 engineers out here with me, and we're starting, again, as you mentioned earlier, a Turo competitor focused on EV car sharing.
Fantastic.
And my name's Ryan McCaffrey. I've hosted Ride the Lightning, the unofficial Tesla podcast, every single Sunday for the last 8 years and counting. I have no intention of stopping ever because I'm just that crazy about all things Tesla. You can find me on all the major podcast services. Just search Ride the Lightning Tesla, because if you just search Ride the Lightning, you'll get Metallica coming up. And so add the Tesla in there, you'll find me.
Well, Ryan, and Kim, thank you so much for being part of this panel. And everyone in the audience, please give a round of applause for our panelists.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Eli.
Thank you.
We're going to go to a commercial break. Zach and Jesse are going to come up for a little bit after, followed by our headliner, Sandy Monroe.
A new performer quietly steps onto the stage, rewriting the rules of off-road adventure with 0 emissions and infinite possibilities. Light Horse, a tale of power told in electric whispers.
Are you ready to take your communication to the next level? Introducing Corporate Streams, providing painless solutions for live streaming since 2012. With Corporate Streams, you can transport attendees worldwide to the heart of your event with our cutting-edge audio and video, amplifying your message and making a lasting impact. Imagine attendees interacting with speakers and presenters through live chat and Q&A sessions regardless of their location. You can create an immersive, inclusive experience for participants no matter their circumstance. Say goodbye to the burdensome costs of traveling and venues. Our clients have reported savings of up to 86% compared to traditional events. Extend the lifetime of your event with on-demand content. Whether watching a missed session or revisiting key moments, no longer will your audience have to choose. It's time to elevate your communication with Corporate Streams, revolutionizing the way you connect, engage, and make an impact.
A good shave is a precise shave. But just how small is the scale of this precision? When we were initially experimenting with different blade gaps and blade exposures, we were surprised at the difference that microscopic changes made. For context, a piece of paper is about 4/1000th of an inch thick. Turns out, that's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
All right. Who is excited to be here tonight, huh?
Me.
All right. That is awesome. We are joined on stage with Daniel from Henson Shaving and, of course...
Who's this guy?
Who
let him on stage?
I busted this party. I'm just here to get free hot dogs, and somebody has been giving me booze, so there we are.
The rule is if you show up in a Cybertruck, you're in, right?
Yeah, kind of. But I had to drive away, and then I don't have a Cybertruck anymore. Anybody that's got a Cybertruck number that's low and wants to get rid of it, I'm really looking for one.
I mean, we have one, and maybe we could like loan it to you to tear down if you promise to put it back together.
That ain't gonna happen. But I will tell you. Okay, so you just saw an ad for Henson's razor blade. Razor.
Shaving.
Not the razor blade. You can use any razor blade you want inside, but they give you 100. I shave with this literally every day when I'm in town. It's hard to get that on an airplane. But I will tell you, every day I shave with it, and every day my wife comes and kisses me on the cheek because you know what? It's really a close shave. You know what? I do not advocate anything that I don't use, try, or endorse. I just don't take money for nothing. But I will tell you, when these guys showed up, hand me one. I have the purple razor, not the what do you call it, titanium one. But I have a purple razor, and I'm telling you, I love that damn thing. And so does my wife. So here you go. It's all yours now. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Jesse likes it so much that he's just been complaining all month because...
I have, yeah.
It'll take that beard down. Like, it'll actually...
I know, and that's the problem. It's
okay,
like,
we were going to do a live... Oh, check. We were going to do a live shave on camera. There's just so much opportunity for that to go horribly wrong.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
pretty tired, so
yeah.
I don't think I should be driving.
We wanted to
let
get
alone shaving.
drunk and shave on camera?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a good
Okay,
idea?
but wait, can you just tell me why it works? Because I don't use it, obviously, but Jesse does every week, and I know he loves it.
Yeah.
But why does it work so well?
It's literally blade grip. If you look at the razor, how it holds the blade, imagine a diving board. Okay. As you walk away from the fulcrum, the diving board gets more bouncy. If you walk further out, it gets bouncy. So if you look at the way we hold the blade, it's just got a bend on it and a torsion, and it's only held about 1.3 thousandths of an inch of total exposure.
Okay.
So it's as compared to a diving board, it's more like a cliff. It's more of like it shears the hair than cuts it. The idea was, my brothers are not tool makers, but my brothers are aerospace machinists, and they came up to me one day and said, hey, we thought if we made a razor that held the blade well, it could get an experience that would be noticeably different. And I think we're at this event because products that are noticeably different are rare and awesome and dope. And we were like, well, if we can make something that doesn't suck, we'll be kind of off to the races. And the feedback so far is it doesn't suck as much.
Jesse, you wanted to do a poll, I think.
Does anyone here use a Henson razor? You can just raise your hand.
Let's see. Anyone here use a Henson razor?
I'm seeing a few.
Oh,
hands.
I see a bunch.
We got 1, 2, 3.
A couple maybe happy customers. That's great.
So put it this way, everybody else in the audience, there's a statistically a high likelihood that if you tried it, you would think that it's legitimately amazing. It's a well-made product that just seems to work in many different scenarios by many different approaches or different people. It doesn't matter color or gender or any of that or where you use it on your body. we're kind of just here trying to get the word out that we've got a legitimately well-made product that works as advertised. That's our hope.
Yeah, and I just love that it's sustainable. I mean, instead of having to throw away all this plastic and metal when you're done, you just got a recyclable steel blade. You can use it many times before you need to recycle it. And you're on your first box, I think, of blades.
I still am, yeah. It's going to be a while.
Sustainable and, like, I don't want to say pride of ownership, but, like, it's nice owning things for a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, when you look back at something, we were originally going to do this, like, ad of, like, a razor and it, like, lasting throughout a marriage. And then it would, like, show a wife who's, like, in a fight with her husband. She's in a fight with her husband, and then she, like, looks down at the razor and she, like, remembers him giving it to him 10 years ago. And she's like, what am we doing fighting? This is stupid. You know, like, there's a timelessness to it that we think it just lasts, you know?
Yeah.
So...
No, I mean,
anyway,
I
we
love
don't need to
mine.
plug for a long time. You guys want to talk to Sandy, I don't need to be here. Point is, we want you guys to buy our razor, no joke, and hope you guys love the show. Thanks so much to Zach and Jesse.
Well, hang on one second. See this guy over here with his hat off? I jumped off the stage and whatnot. We got to talk to the guys who got kind of like close to balding heads. Sir, yeah, here we go. See? He needs his head shaved. There you go. So you can shave your face like this and get kissed by your wife, or you can shave your head and
get kissed on
not
the head.
have any friends. I don't know. But
Allegedly,
anyways,
head shavers say there's nothing like it. I've never shaved my head before, but the head shavers tell me there's nothing like it. So anyway, I'm going to hop off. Thanks so much to everybody. Honestly, buy our products. And
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you,
Big
Hanson
round for
Shaving,
Hanson
everybody.
Shaving. They
Couldn't
help
have
make
done
this
this event
possible.
without them. Please give them a warm thank you.
okay, so I have one request. Is Tesla Boomer Mama here? Because this is your hat. This is the hat I promised to give you. Where? That you're not Tesla Boomer Mama. Okay, so hang on. Is Tesla Boomer Mama here somewhere? I gotta hang on to it then. Okay, fine. I'm gonna wear a pink hat. Anyway, I'm gonna move over closer.
What do you got there, Sandy? You got cyber glasses?
I have cyber glasses, but I wore them out.
Whoa.
To the people who gave me these glasses, the battery's worn out. I don't know what happened. But anyway, or I don't know how to turn them on if they're.
I forgot mine at home.
But anyway, they're really special for a minute or two. What? Oh,
there we go.
Woo!
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Obviously, there's somebody here that knows
Everyone
what the hell
look
they're
out.
talking about. Thank you so much. Okay, that's enough of this shit because I can't see. Okay, good. Excellent. All righty. Now, I'm not going to be up here by myself. Kyle, get your ass out here. Get your yellow shirt over here on this stage. Where in the hell did he go? He ran away. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You try and get friends and then they leave you. Okay, so I'll have to live with you guys until...
All right.
We'll have to do.
Yeah, you'll have to do. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Sandy. I know you can't tell us anything of what you learned inside, but tell us just one little thing. You can tell us one little thing. Yeah.
Okay,
no one's
so,
listening.
So
don't
here's the
worry.
deal. There's things that I can't talk about because I have an NDA until midnight.
I think it is midnight. Is it 11:59?
You are
Isn't
a
it?
liar. You guys are lying. You're trying to get me. Yeah.
Midnight
I'm
somewhere.
good. It's not midnight. These guys are lying. It's midnight, basically somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic. But I can tell you one thing for sure. Okay. I really enjoyed driving that car. I'm telling you what, the four-wheel steer, the drive-by-wire, everything about that car, the vision, everything is just absolutely brilliant. And it's quite a bit easier than driving a Model Y, a Model X, a Model S. It's easier to drive because the screen is slightly different. And I like the deal. I don't have to wiggle stock sticks and stuff like that. It's just up and down. And by the way, there's another thing that's kind of cool. When you want to take off, it's like the Model S. If it sees there's nothing in front of you, it assumes you want to go forward. Now this, for those folks who've ever had a brain fart, and you decide you're going to put it in drive when really you should be in reverse, this is going to be perfect for you. I personally never have that problem. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff that you can expect from the Cybertruck. I love everything about it. I loved it from the first time I saw it. I only made one small mistake, and that was not putting my name on the reservations. I don't want to get into that, but at the end of the day, this is a fine truck. Tesla is going to just kick so much ass. It's iconic.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about it. If I say Beetle, what car do you think of? If I say Mini, what car do you think of? This is going to be a car like that. It's an iconic vehicle that's going to continuously be in the public's eye, always.
How is the visibility with not having that normal pickup truck frunk?
Okay, so normally, when you look out the window, it's like driving either a motorcycle or a convertible, and I've had lots of both. But there's one thing I really scared the shit out of me, and that's going into a parking garage with really tight turns. I've already suggested this to Tesla. Give me a view. You've got the cameras there already. Give me a view of what the hell I'm looking at, because I can't see over the edge. The good news is there is no rear view mirror. Hallelujah. Finally, somebody grew some balls and actually got rid of the rear view mirror. They haven't got rid of the side mirrors, the wing mirrors, but the rear view mirror is gone, and you get a nice view of what's in back of you. I mean, that's brilliant. I love that. If we could just toss Nishta into getting rid of a few more old-fashioned, well, you know, we've always had a rear view mirror. If we can get them to get rid of that, I'm pretty sure we can make things happen in a good way.
What do you think about GM, Ford, the big guys? Are they worried tonight? Are they even caring about this tonight?
Okay, so in order of priority from the guys that are probably the most worried to least, I'd say number one on the hit parade is Volkswagen. Holy mackerel. If I've ever made a bad prediction, it was when I said Volkswagen may be the only competitor to Tesla. I was so wrong. I mean, I'm not going to take a flogging or anything, but I will tell you, I was so wrong, it was incredible. I cannot believe how how VW is, I don't know how they're still alive. They've got to reduce, okay, so I hear a lot from different people, and some of the Volkswagen people have told me they've got to get rid of 40% of their production capability. And it's all going to be in Germany, Slovakia, and wherever. Their Chinese companies are the only ones making money. So at the end of the, what are they waving at me over there? Hey, you with the yellow shirt, get over here.
Uh-oh.
Come on,
Get up
let's go.
here.
I can't believe
What are you afraid to sit next to Sandy or something?
There we are. Okay, so now I'm going to be able to stop talking and give everything to Kyle. Kyle, it's your on.
Hello. What would you like me to talk about?
Well, let's first introduce.
We can talk about charging if you want. Absolutely.
Let's first introduce Kyle Connor from Out of Spec Motoring.
Welcome, Kyle.
Along with many other amazing channels.
How many people have watched Kyle's review of ice cold weather charging? Stick your hands up. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that the big guys are worried today about what they just saw, or do you think they're just going to ignore it?
You mean in terms of their response to the truck? Yeah, I honestly think the first reaction for most people in the automotive industry, whether it's from like an OE or other media outlets, is going to be to make fun of it and not to take it seriously. I think that's probably the first reaction.
Because you think they really don't get it, or because they just need to have that reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't know much about the truck yet. And so this happens every time a Tesla product comes out. Lots of doubt, lots of questions. And honestly, same for me. Like, I can't wait to test it. I want to see the range. I want to see the charging. We got to do, this versus Rivian versus Lightning versus Silverado.
Yep.
And I'm super pumped for all the videos we're going to do with it. And yeah, so if anyone's got one, send it to me before he tears it down.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about. I've driven everything. Okay, so I don't go into the depth that Kyle goes into. Out of Spec is your best opportunity for real road trip experience. But I can tell you, my wife owns a Rivian. I don't own anything. The company owns a Model 3, a Ford F-150 Lightning, and we got a couple of Chinese cars and some other stuff. But I will tell you that what I drove today is different than a Lightning, totally different. Because when you're trying to park a Lightning, you're parking a beast, okay? However, if I compare it to the Rivian, I don't see me as a buyer of an off-road vehicle. I don't see me wanting the Rivian. My wife loves it, but I want a Cybertruck. And then we look at, if we look at the F-150, for those who watch my channel, you know that I wound up with a whole bunch of people coming from all over the world to show up in Auburn Hills with no electricity. How in the world did I save that? I plugged in the Lightning, and son of a gun, they just saved me literally $1 million. So it's hard for me to throw rocks at an F-150 Lightning. Now the good news is that, pretty sure I heard this today. I hope I heard this today. But here's the deal. The Cybertruck is bi-directional. So that means that it's got the attributes of the Lightning, so you can charge you can not just charge, but you can run your household on the Lightning, you can light it on the Lightning, but you can run it on the Cybertruck, and the Cybertruck has got a much bigger battery than what the Lightning does. So as far as I'm concerned, if we're looking at the guys that are going to lose, we're looking at Volkswagen. Down a long ways comes General Motors. A little ways further down is Toyota. They're going to get smaller. And then you've got a whole myriad of folks that are in between. And that would include the Rivian, the Lightning, the Hyundais, the Hondas, the Teslas, the Toyotas. All these guys are making the direction that they should make, that they have to make if they're going to survive in the next 10 years. The guys at the really top, like they've got, I have no, how do I do this without saying fucking? I can't remember how. But anyways, they have no chance of really surviving, and so they will shrink. They'll shrink in size considerably. Now, the question is, who's going to be the biggest car manufacturer on the planet in 5 years? 5 years. Who said BYD? Stick your hand up. You're right. Tesla will not be the biggest because we don't have enough product out there. Oh, sorry. We don't have enough product out there. There's no way that Tesla can compete with BYD because BYD is so huge. They are double. And because everybody should know that China is the biggest market for cars, period. They're double the next closest competitor in the EV world, double. They are taking over, dominating Europe. They are moving into, they already have bus companies in Los Angeles. They're moving into China. BYD will crush a whole bunch of different companies. And so BYD is going to be number first. Who's number two? Tesla. I believe Tesla will be number two in the marketplace. And the reason for that is because they have a product that's a step above what BYD produces, but will come in at a higher price, and Americans are cheapskates. And that's the way it works.
Awesome.
Now, okay, there's one question that I have for the two of you, and I think you're probably both uniquely qualified to answer. I want to talk about the windshield wiper. Today we got a good look at the windshield wiper wiping when you brought your truck in, Sandy, and I appreciate you doing that. Is this going to be a problem? Everyone's always worried about how long this windshield wiper is on the Cybertruck. What do you think?
I think that the single windshield wiper is an absolute genius move. I tried to talk General Motors into it. I tried to talk Toyota into it. Mercedes already has it, but they've got a cam in it that makes it sweep the whole window. But the window is so damn big, and the wiper is even bigger. I'm guaranteeing you that that's going to be the right way to go. And we've been trying to push this technology forever. I'm going to tell you something that it sounds like I'm bragging, but it's not. I will tell you that every time we put out a suggestion on YouTube, we give it to the world. Who is the one who implements it and who sits around picking their nose, giving reasons why they can't do it? Tesla. And in number 2 position, well, there's 2. One is Geely, and the other one is BYD. Everything we say, everything when we criticize, every time we come out with an idea, like 48 volts, who implemented and who just went, well, I don't think so, really and truly. You know, we've been doing this since 1960, and so there can't possibly be any technological improvements since 1960.
Kyle, I want to ask you about snow. And I think a lot of people are worried, especially with the windshield wiper, about snow. And today, looking at it, I kind of noticed something. I'm so used to my windshield wiper being down and then having to come up. And so when I am too lazy to brush off my car in the morning after a snowstorm, and I'm like, the windshield wipers will take care of it. It'll go up and it'll go, and then it'll come back down. But I was looking today, and the windshield wiper is up, and the whole front windshield goes straight down to the hood, and then the hood goes all the way down. Do you think that it's just going to...
I think it depends on the snow mix, especially,
yes.
and how strong that motor is,
True.
because there's a lot of weight it's going to have to push. But I live in Colorado. We've had a ton of snow, and so you just precondition it for a few minutes. I would just crank that wiper on full, and if it breaks, it makes for a good YouTube video from my side. and if it works, that's an even better YouTube video.
Yep.
So it's super interesting to see, like, wiper stress test is a video we have to do in the near future. It's double blade, is my understanding. Which is kind of cool. So, we'll see how they wear. All these things, certainly we'll be looking at it.
Okay, so I drove the car quite a bit in the rain and the fog and the mud. When you get close to the Tesla factory, it seems like, I don't know how it happens, but mud shows up on your windshield. And what happens is it starts down below and it goes up. And then automatically it figures out you can't see what you're doing, and it goes down. But when we got to the expressway, I really wanted this thing to do better than what automatic was. So I went thump on the windshield wipers, and it comes up. Do you want to do it automatically, which kind of like I didn't care for? Or do you want to have it thump, thump, so you get one swipe? Or do you want to have it thump, thump, and then wait, thump, thump? Or do you want to have it on wicked fast, which gives you an epileptic fit? Okay, so you can pick whatever you want, and it's right there.
How does it spray the water on?
Okay, so if you've got your thumb on the steering wheel, you press the windshield wiper and it'll cycle. If you hold it, then what happens is it sprays fluid, and I ran out, but it doesn't matter. It's now my benefactor. It's Rich Otto's problem. We ran out of fluid, and I didn't. You can use a lot of things for fluid. In Russia, they use vodka, and sometimes if you're drunk, you can use urine. But at the end of the day, you have to use something, and it has to have salt in it. So again, this is where men have an advantage. So at the end of the day, I had no problems with the windshield wiper at all. Just push the button, or actually with your thumbs. So you've got your right and left turn signals, 2 buttons on the steering wheel. You've got front, forward, reverse, and park. Actually, it's on the screen, but you don't have to use that. You can push a little button, and there's a small. I don't know what to describe it as. It's like a beam, and you press the button, and you've got a Prindle for all the old timers that I'm quite caught on, you can push that thing on and you can hit park, reverse, drive, whatever you want. It's all right there, and neutral. So so it's kind of cool. The windshield washers and whatnot everything's right by your thumb. And because you've got we did not have self-driving on that car. It was pre-production. But if you've got the what do you call it, steer-by-wire kind of stuff, everything is, I mean, you'd have to really try hard to crash this car, really.
Can I ask you guys about steer-by-wire? So I was under the impression that NHTSA required a mechanical backup system, but has that rule been changed so you don't?
No. The NHTSA rule is that if you go by steer-by-wire, you have to have double redundancy on the electric motors, which they do have, and you have triple redundancy on the controlling system, and they do have. It's just that everybody was too damn cheap and too lacking of foresight to make that happen. Because remember, every major aircraft you've ever been on, ever has fly-by-wire. And there's a lot more going on when it's fly-by-wire versus steer-by-wire.
So what is it? Is that an advantage for Tesla going forward? I mean, is that going to be a cost reduction, or what does that do?
Well, from a driving standpoint, it leads to a unique driving experience, right?
Yeah, so
that's
can
what
you
we
explain
focus on.
that? So there's something about when you're at slow speeds than fast speeds?
Yeah, so the idea is the ratio is going to change based on the speed of the vehicle. How it's tuned, what happens if you do an emergency load in the steering, these are all the things we'll find out. But essentially at low speed, if you put a 45-degree input into the steering wheel, the vehicle's going to turn pretty quickly. At high speed, if you do the same thing, it'll sort of smooth out that input. Also has rear steer, which they didn't discuss too much. We don't know how many degrees, like EQS, for example, is 10 degrees of rear steer, quite a bit. This didn't look as aggressive. Maybe it's 5 degrees, 7 degrees at the most. But it doesn't need to be, even a minimal amount of rear steer makes a huge impact, and that can be tuned differently at speeds as well. At low speed, you want it opposite of the front wheels. At high speed, you want it in the same direction to virtually elongate the chassis, make smoother lane changes, give some more stability. And so we got to play around with all that too. You drove it with steer-by-wire, so what was your impression of the inputs at the different speeds? Was it natural to drive?
It was, at first it's a little bit of a trick, because when you're trying to get out of a tight parking spot or whatever, having rear wheel steering is kind of, so I've driven lots of trucks and buses that have rear wheel steering, and I'm telling you, it's great from a tightness standpoint. You can almost spin on a dime. It's really, really tight. You can make things happen in a hurry. When you're at high speed, that doesn't kick in. You definitely don't want rear wheel steering from something that's moving too quick. But that has I think 10%, 10 degrees, I should say, of rear wheel steering. And then when you look at the front of the vehicle, the lock-to-lock at basically 0 is 300. I think it's 320 degrees or something along that lines. It's been out in the market for a bit. They've talked about that. So,
Sandy, when you had a chance to drive the vehicle, did you drive the tri-motor version? And what was your impression of the performance? I spoke with the powertrain guys today for some amount of time, so happy to share some impressions. But what did you think of the quietness of the motors, the powertrain calibration? Was it smooth? What was that all like?
Okay, so I drove it in beast mode. Beast mode is probably not for everyone, but I did use to race cars and whatever. But at the end of the day, I didn't find anything that was overwhelming. And the reason for that was because we got the car with basically about less than 40%, I'm not sure. And so consequently, beast mode eats up a tremendous amount of power. And we wanted to get back home and whatever. So I did kick it in several times, and it did definitely. Grace was unhappy. Don't do that again, was I think the comment. I thought I heard a whisper in my ear. but at the end of the day, I truly liked everything. It was smooth, it was quiet, everything was consistent with what you'd think when you're at highway speed. So I did not notice a heck. The only part is when you're at slow speed, and then that does kind of is going to take a little bit to get used to, because I'm not used to rear wheel steering along with like lock to lock steering. Yeah.
Yeah, so the motors are interesting. The front is a permanent magnet design with an E-locker, at least in the tri-motor variant, which is great to have a mechanical locker. It's actually a very similar setup to Hummer EV, uses a similar, independent, non-mechanically linked rear axle on the tri-motor variant with a front electronic differential locking mechanism, which is awesome for off-road or in split mu conditions. But what's interesting is the rear motors are induction. There's no permanent magnets or rare earth materials in there. It's also like a huge drive unit in the rear. It's got to handle big abuse loads, of course, being a truck, much more than a car or a Model X even would take. But the fact that it's induction in the rear was really interesting. And I don't know exactly how they'll tune it. We'll, of course, test all this. But what I thought was interesting was my guess is it's going to primarily be front-wheel drive, running that permanent magnet motor, for highway cruising, and then only kick in the induction motor for the hard torque loads when needed. The benefit, of course, as you know, Sandy, and you guys know as well, is with an induction motor in the rear, you don't have flux-related losses from cruising down, so you can essentially shut that motor off. Whereas with a permanent magnet, a lot of automakers, including Tesla with the Semi, will do a physical clutch disconnect. So the powertrain setup was not what I was expecting at all. And how it's tuned and how it's going to work, this is what I can't wait to try out when we get a beast mode truck in to review.
So I got a chance to talk to some folks who've got a new inverter converter that would allow me to get away from, I'm sure I'm going to make enemies here, but I'd really like to get rid of permanent magnet motors and move toward induction motors. And there's a company that's come up with a new trick, and I cannot remember the name, but anyways, these guys, everybody's looking at them right now, and what they're doing is a vastly different way of controlling the electric motor. And they can make a PM motor they can make an induction motor do everything a PM motor can do. And now what do I get? Well, it's lighter. Well, it might not be lighter because what they're advocating is staying with copper. I'd like to see it go to aluminum if I could. But they have, with copper design, they can do anything that a PM motor can do, and they can do it more consistently. When I first saw their graphs and whatnot, I thought, these are bullshit artists. I really don't like magic. There's no such thing. I do believe in magic in a younger soul or something. I can't remember the names of the song. But anyways, I do remember that one thing, and that is that they have figured out how to do magic. So the torque curve that you get with a PM motor can be replicated. That same flat and droop can be replicated in an induction motor, and if that happens, you can instantly drop the motor cost by, well, it depends on whose motor you're looking at, but anywhere from $300 to maybe $1,000. And if I can get $1,000 out at the cost phase, like at the place where you make things, then that is a multiple of 2 that you can see. So if I can get $1,000 of in the difference between a PM motor and an induction motor, then I can sell the car to you at least $2,000 less, and probably 3. So that's a really big. Not only that, it's lighter.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys both about the range extender battery, because it really kind of shocked me today when I heard about it. I was like, what? I've never heard of a Tesla product with a range extender. So this is going to sit in the bed of the truck, right? Take up a third of the space of the truck. Can you guys talk to me about, $16,000 roughly, right? And it's going to add about 130 miles of range. Does this make sense to you guys? What do you guys think of this?
Okay. Well, I'm not actually 100% sure how it's going to work, if it's going to be hot swappable. Like, a few things come to mind on the battery side of the truck, which is, they're saying around an 800 volt nominal system architecture. The first thing I think about is how is that going to interface with Tesla superchargers that are out today, because both version 2 and version 3 are capped at 500 volts, as well as version 4 dispensers are still hooked up to V3 cabinets. So is the truck going to have an onboard booster, or is it going to split pack down to 400 volts, or is Tesla going to retrofit the existing hardware? Like, I don't know. Do you have an answer on is it going to split pack or not?
I do have a slight answer, a fairly good answer. First off, if you are fooling around with the range extender, you're probably going to want to go to 800 volts. 800 volts is what this car is coming out with. It'll do 800 or 400. When you have 800 volts, that just moves the amps. Amps are really what you really want to have. The volts are kind of like pushing it there, so it's like pressure. So this vehicle with the range extender would be better suited for an 800 volt charger than 400 volts. It'll get it done. It'll get the job done faster. However, I don't know what everybody else here knows, but you should know that the average American only drives about 40 miles a day. Okay, so if you get the range extender, it would be because you want to tow something. And we already heard that that Tesla can tow 1,100 pounds. Okay, that's good. But if you want to have it 1,100 pounds with the same range, then you're going to have to get the range extender. And at that juncture, that's when I had to drop the little shield. You'll hear a little bit more on our YouTube channel, but I can't talk about it until midnight tonight.
Okay.
Isn't it 11:59? I thought it...
You know what? I'm surrounded by liars. He said the same thing over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the range extender seems like an interesting topic. Is it wired? Maybe you can't say yet, but is it wired in parallel with the battery, or is there a DC to DC in between the two? Can you say yet?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? How about you, sir? Any other questions?
Yeah. It seems, for my personal use case, for example, I of course own a couple Teslas, but I also have a Rivian that I do most of my towing with. I'm actually in the middle of a Rivian towing trip right now. My truck's in Ohio with my trailer on it. I'm going back to go continue the trip after this event. And, towing with that truck sucks. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
It's like charging, thermals. Yeah.
We wanted to drive down to this event in the Rivian or the Ford, dragging our solar trailer that we've built, and couldn't do it. We were like, okay, we could have Thanksgiving.
Well, we could do it if we had 2 extra weeks.
We would maybe get it here now. If we left on Thanksgiving from Washington, D.C., we might have been able to make it down here and just be pulling in right about now. And, I mean, that is where I don't know what the NACS rollout is going to look like for the Rivian and the Ford and every other car. I'm excited.
Yeah, we can talk about it if you want to go.
It's so fun, but right now, towing with a truck that is electric, because you can't buy a Tesla Cybertruck is impossible.
To your point, though, in 2025, right, that's when most people are going to get their Cybertrucks. That is the magical year when NACS will roll out to all the Rivians and the Fords and so forth. So is there going to be no more advantage to Teslas at that point?
Charging speed.
Well, in the case of Silverado EV, it does 365 kilowatts.
Well.
And at least on the website, it says Cybertruck does 250. And that's going to have NACS, but again, high voltage. We don't know how it's going to interact and what V4 will be yet. But I've been super involved with the NACS transition stories. Been working, from this Charin consortium. I just came from a conference in Ohio on that, and a bunch of interoperability testing. It's going to be the Wild West for a little bit. Adapter safety comes in to mind as like making sure your adapter is certified by the OE and it's approved to use on the network, because some of these things can get pretty sketchy pretty quick.
It's just a couple hundred amps.
What's
the big deal?
like a Tesla will do like 700 amps when you plug it
Yeah,
into
come
a
on.
supercharger. It's
My
wild.
extension cord's going to be just fine.
It's going to be an interesting ride. The next transition has to happen. We were one of the early ones to push as hard as we can on that from our side with what little impact we have. But yeah, it's going to be messy. It's going to be exciting. And there's no lack of content for any of us to talk about how this is going to work.
But it will probably work flawlessly with the Cybertruck, and that might be the only truck where it's going to work flawlessly. And I don't know. That could be a deciding factor. We could be back here in a year and a half, and that's what we'll be saying.
The most exciting thing to me about Cybertruck is the thermal management system, where Tesla has always had a clear lead above everyone else. Even Model 3, which is a 400-volt system architecture, has more thermal longevity than a Porsche Taycan, which is almost double, and that's a performance-oriented application. And my Rivian, for example, I was just charging it yesterday at an Electrify America station. It was 20 degrees outside, really cold, and I have a way to see my battery temperatures on the truck, and it overheated and stopped charging for a few minutes to let the battery cool down. So the Cybertruck's thermal systems, I think, are going to be a huge improvement over what's out there in the market today. Lightning, by the way, awesome thermal management, but not huge peak charging speeds. Silverado, GM still can't figure out their charging curves on their stuff. So yeah, I think that's Tesla's advantage in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to thermal management, I don't believe anybody, including BYD, has anything that comes close to the way that Tesla has developed the octo valve, the thermal management system, all the other stuff that goes along with it. And the reason for that is real simple. They've been in the marketplace for 5 years, if you're talking about BYD, 5 years before everybody else. That 5 years of extra knowledge really makes a huge difference. So I think that some companies, again, I go back to what did I say about the guy that's in the biggest problem and who comes in second. They both did the same. They both made the same mistake. They both decided that they were going to put a B team on, and if you want to compete with Tesla, you better have an A+ team, and that's it. So, and that's what it works out to. I mean, for those of you who are in the tour today that went around through Tesla and talked to any of the guys that were on the factory floor, these guys are devoted. They're not UAW people, that's for sure. And by the way, I've heard this about 1 million times, so I'm going to dispel a small rumor. I do not believe that any Sean Fenn or whatever is going to ever convince Toyota, Tesla, Honda, Rivian, or anybody else into joining the crowd. And here's something that's ponderous that you should know. In 1980, the UAW had 1.5 million people. Now they have just under 320,000 people. It's a dying breed, and sooner or later it will die out completely, but not before it destroys General Motors, Stellantis, we can't call it Chrysler anymore, Stellantis, Ford, and anybody else that they've sucked in.
Hey, I noticed that there's no tailgate ramp on the video that we saw today, and in the trucks that you pulled up in, I think you mentioned that there wasn't a ramp. Now, is that going to be an option, or has that been ditched?
The deal is that the ramp weighs too much, and so you couldn't close the tailgate. And so they've abandoned ship on that, and they did mention it on the floor, if you heard. They abandoned ship on the ramp. They're going to sell an extension ramp that you can put in the back of the truck and you can make happen.
But it won't be built into the tailgate.
It will not be built into the tailgate.
Oh, that's a bummer, because that seemed like a really cool feature.
Yeah, but it would take, you'd have to have an electric motor to bring that back up. Currently, I showed you how you could lift it up with one hand. But that's because it's got a clock spring, a torque spring. That'll bring it back up. So when you bring it down, it compresses the spring like a watch. And then when you bring it back up, it gives you the energy you need in order to close it. With the ramp, and again, we talked about this, And when I saw the initial one, I said, Genghis Khan, a gorilla, would have to be able to pick this thing up because it'd be so bloody heavy. And that's basically what they've come to the same conclusion, but you can buy a ramp. And by the way, anybody that didn't see it, there's a whole bunch of other attachments. I'm not sure whether they're made by Tesla or not, but there's a little house you can put on the back that's supposed to be bear-proof. Nah, I can't even believe that, but anyways, it'll be bear-proof. And then they've got this other thing. You put a little pump, you plug in your compressor, and a little pump will give you a tent. Phenomenal. I love it. I mean, I don't need it to be bear-proof. I'm not going where there's bears, especially big ones that eat humans. I don't want that. So at the end of the day, I want to go to a place where I can plug in, pump up, and go to bed.
What were your thoughts about the shortness of the presentation? It just felt like it flew by because it really was just a delivery event. Were you hoping for anything else to be revealed, or you know that that's just coming in the days to come?
Yeah, from my perspective, it was pretty as expected. I actually thought we got some interesting info. Some tests and things they showed during it, I'm not sure those were how I would have staged them at least, but we can always recreate them in maybe a little bit more of a scientific matter. For example, the tractor pull, let's get all the vehicles on the same tire, or at least optioned in a similar configuration. So these little things we can play around with, in the future for fun. But I thought it was the energy. I was at the event and in the factory, and I thought the energy was probably totally different than when I watched it back in the live stream. People were excited. It was great. Like Sandy mentioned, they had literally the engineers of each component as you walk down the factory line explaining what their methodology was through their engineering process, the testing procedures they went through. Like I mentioned, I spent a lot of time with the powertrain guys, and they were just so open about everything, which you never get that access from Tesla. And so I was super thrilled to meet the people working on the thing, see their passion, which is very rare, especially as I'm lucky enough I get to review every new electric car that comes on the market. Very rarely do we get this kind of access right to the engineers to learn about each area that we're interested in. And I honestly, we didn't even pay too much attention during the presentation. We were too busy tweeting and doing other stuff and having fun, but just talking to the people was amazing. And I thought the mood afterwards was a little bit somber. Everyone was like, the price, all these things, and I don't know, I was probably, and normally I'm pretty hard on Tesla, I thought it was priced exactly like I expected it to be, and I was like, that's what I thought, and I was super thrilled. So I'm pleased with the truck.
I'll tell you, the guy that put this on, his name is Rich Otto. Is Rich Otto here in the audience? Rich Otto, are you around anywhere? You don't think so? Okay. So the guy, the genius in back of all of this stuff, his name is Rich Otto. I thought he did a brilliant job. I've been to a dozen of these dog and pony shows, more than a dozen, hundreds of these dog and pony shows. Normally there's a girl with long legs and a cute look, and she doesn't know what she's talking about, but hey, she's got long legs and she's cute. But this one was perfect because I got a chance to see what was going on. I got a chance to talk to the people who actually put the car together. I got a chance to not waste my time on a lot of mumbo jumbo. I don't need somebody to tell me their financial position. I don't want to know, who did this, who did that. These guys were all right there, right in front of us. The ability to get the job done is really what's important. And quite frankly, I thought it was the perfect amount of time, because normally you're ready to fall asleep. And quite frankly, the last investor show, shit show comes to mind. I don't know. Anyhow, these guys were all investors, and there was no investors. These guys were all in suits. Nobody was in. Well, there was one guy that had a suit on. These people were interested in what was going on. These other clowns, all they wanted to do was figure out how they were going to write the next short story, as in short Tesla. And I don't want to go there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny you bring up this point. I was just at the market introduction launch of BYD in Germany, and I have mad respect for BYD and everything they're doing, but it was literally a 2-hour-long rock concert mixed with a translated presentation where they didn't even touch on the product, finished with another rock concert. And I'm like, I just want to see the car. And today, at least, we got to go see the vehicle and talk to the engineers. It was really great.
And that's the difference between marketing at Tesla and marketing everywhere else. These other guys, they don't care about the car. They don't know about the car. They don't know shit. They're marketing people. They're sales folks. They will know about, oh, do we have enough shrimp to feed these characters? Is there enough champagne? Is it the right kind of champagne? That's what they really understand. But nobody gives a rat's ass about that stuff. At the end of the day, I was really happy to see what I saw. And like I say, I've seen hundreds of these things over my 75 years of being on this planet. I've seen tons of these things, and they're always the same. Tall, willowy ladies, shrimp, champagne, and bullshit.
Wow, I guess
I can confirm. Yes.
We're missing the champagne and the shrimp, huh?
All right, so we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to let our sponsors tell you about themselves. And thank you again to our sponsors, because without them, this would not be possible. Thank you to Sandy and Kyle. We'll be back with them in a minute.
That's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
In the heart of nature, where the symphony of the wild plays, a new performer quietly steps onto the stage, rewriting the rules of off-road adventure with zero emissions and infinite possibilities. Light Horse, a tale of power told in electric whispers.
Are you ready to take your communication to the next level? Introducing Corporate Streams, providing painless solutions for live streaming since 2012. With Corporate Streams, you can transport attendees worldwide to the heart of your event with our cutting-edge audio and video, amplifying your message and making a lasting impact. Imagine attendees interacting with speakers and presenters through live chat and Q&A sessions regardless of their location. You can create an immersive, inclusive experience for participants no matter their circumstance. Say goodbye to the burdensome costs of traveling and venues. Our clients have reported savings of up to 86% compared to traditional events. Extend the lifetime of your event with on-demand content. Whether watching a missed session or revisiting key moments, no longer will your audience have to choose. It's time to elevate your communication with Corporate Streams, revolutionizing the way you connect, engage, and make an impact.
A good shave is a precise shave, but just how small is the scale of this precision? When we were initially experimenting with different blade gaps and blade exposures, we were surprised at the difference that microscopic changes made. For context, a piece of paper is about 4/1000th of an inch thick. Turns out, that's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
Welcome back, everybody. It is my honor to welcome to the stage right now someone I love following myself, fellow YouTuber, Dr. Know-It-All. Come on up. Let's hear it for Dr. Know-It-All. If he don't know it, nobody does.
There we go. Thank you. All right. And I will, I guess I'll sit over here. There we go. Whoa, okay, these are deep seats. And we got, I guess I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, but Scott and Hans. And so, I don't know, say something about yourselves. Does everybody know Scott? Do people know Scott? Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, cool. And Hans?
Yeah, my name's Hans Nelson. I also have a YouTube channel,
Appreciate it.
and these guys are frequent guests as well. So,
cool. So I had the amazing privilege of being at the delivery event today and was in the Cybertruck, like the factory, as the factory line. And I want to just touch on something today, the amazing steer-by-wire that they've got, which is, it may not sound like a big deal, but it's a big deal. I think Lexus is the only company that's ever made a vehicle before with steer-by-wire, but it was like kind of a concept car, just a few of them came out. And yeah, so I don't know, Scott, why don't you say what steer-by-wire is? Why would you care?
Well, the first thing is you don't need all the mechanical linkages that are going to be. That's the first thing. The other thing is it will allow you to have different kinds of steering depending on the speed that you're going. So if you're going at a very high speed, you just turn the wheel a little bit and it'll behave the way you want. And then it'll be a lot easier when you're going slower. You don't have to keep on cranking the wheel around. So it gives you a lot more control, so software can start to do the steering rather than having it being just mechanical linkages.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, I guess, I don't know, I'll put you on the spot here. What is the problem? It seems like steer-by-wire is obvious. Why doesn't every car have steer-by-wire?
well, it's obviously something that there's not a supply base for. No one has decided to tackle this problem. There's a lot of regulatory challenges because it is a very safety critical thing. You cannot have a mistake in a drive-by-wire system because if you do, crashes are very likely. And yeah, so that makes things really difficult. So getting it through that regulatory burden is a challenge, and it's people, they have a tried and true system that works, and so that's why they don't really want to try something new that might actually cause a lot of warranty problems, liability, litigation later.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I mean, the basic deal is that normally there are mechanical linkages between the steering wheel. As you turn it, there's a bunch of linkages that pull the wheels, you know, back and forth, whatever. And with steer-by-wire, it's you get none of that. It's all software controlled. As you were saying, the obvious problem is that if something fails, if the battery goes out, if there's a software glitch, whatever, and it goes down, you have no control anymore. So for those of you who have old cars or have ever driven the old cars, someday the battery dies while you're driving, and you're like, I still got it. You know, I can still steer the car as it goes off the road, and it's okay. But with steer-by-wire, if it doesn't work, you crash. You have no control. So the really cool, amazing thing about this is that they've got so much redundancy built into the system that they have gotten regulatory approval, I guess, because we have cars that are now in the public that have this steer-by-wire, and they have been given, you know, I don't know if it's NHTSA or whoever gives regulatory approval, but they've gotten approval for it. I don't know if we're going to get it, but we have a little bit of footage from the actual factory where you can see the front assembly unit. It's really interesting to look at. But I don't know, Scott, you want to speculate on the Optimus crossover? So yeah.
Okay, in the video, which we're going to be looking at, they're going to point out there's a couple of actuators that are used to steer the wheels. And they did mention that there's 2 actuators, so it's not a single actuator that is actually doing the steering, which means both wheels are decoupled. So that means rather than them both turning to the left or turning to the right together, potentially you can have one turn to the left and one turn to the right. Normally you do want them to be coupled together, and when you have a mechanical solution, that just happens naturally from the design. So there's 2 actuators in there. Given the size of the actuators, they're not the same size kind of motors that you would actually use to propel the vehicle forward. You don't need that much torque. They look like they're about the size of some of the Optimus actuators. So, does that mean they are repurposing some of the Optimus actuators for other aspects of the vehicle? If they are, that means they've got a line that's producing those particular actuators.
Right.
Or are they an offshoot of it? Is it something specially designed for this that has nothing to do with Optimus, or is it some sort of derivative? And we know Tesla is able to build their own motors. The question is, are they already building the motors they need for Optimus already? And it has been mentioned that starting in November, and if I look at, oh, it's the last day of November.
It's almost December, folks.
The actuators that were designed for Optimus should be ready, and that might mean they're looking for other applications to use these servos somewhere else. And that makes sense, because then you start reducing your supply chain issues, and whatever expertise you have in being able to produce a certain kind of componentry, you can now do it somewhere else and not have to pay the extra cost and the delivery and the logistics issues that kind of come along with trying to get components from somewhere else.
Right. Gotcha. I don't know, you got something to add to that? Or okay, yeah, so we were actually geeking out looking at the video, and we're trying to determine if this was, oh, here we go. We got some video. So
what I suggest, I'm going to move out of the way here so you can all see it.
Yeah, Scott is going to give us the look at it ahead. We've got a monitor down here. So this would be the front drive assembly unit. The very front part is what we believe are the, I thank you for stopping it. That's perfect. So yeah, if you want to look here, these guys would be the actuators that would be insert. Yeah, sorry. So this sort of cylindrical looking thing, and then it goes off to the right in this case.
Right along.
Oh, Scott, there we go. So perfect. So yeah, we've got these. All right, here we go. Who needs to sit? We're gonna stand up. Yeah, folks. So anyway, we've got the shock tower here, which is huge. We've got the wheel. So this would be the where the wheel would be. It's the brake pads and stuff like that. And then normally there would be linkages, but here you can see it's just an actuator with just a cylinder arm that comes out and can actually rotate the wheel around. And there's another one, you can't see it right now, but there's another one over on this side.
Here, before we go, so
yes.
This here is the actual motor, and then this part is going to be the gearbox that runs, and I believe this is basically a rack and pinion system, so there is a gear that drives off of this gearbox, and then there is a straight gear, a pinion, that would run back and forth to actuate that rod back.
Right. So it's and then you were talking about, Scott, right, that you think there's a joint in here to allow some flexibility for movement.
Yeah, exactly. You would need to make sure, because the suspension system is moving up and down, and unless you want this motor to be able to rotate, which is not, it's affixed to the structure, you need to have something here to be able to keep on changing its position. Otherwise, you're going to snap any linkage you have in there. So it's like a universal joint that they probably have in there, and it's hidden. It's covered up by this to protect it.
So yeah, so basically, and you're pretty much of the opinion linear actuator here. So the actuator would rotate, but it would push the whatever the pin out.
Yeah, the push rod.
Yeah. So the really cool part about this is if you guys are right, yeah, here we go. So we can see the other side over here, and it's kind of flipped upside down. So you were noting that they only have to make one skew. They only have to make one part, and they take the part and they flip it 180 degrees, and it works in both directions. So instead of having to make two parts, they make one part, and they just flip it, which is, genius.
And I think it's probably
so instead of making a mirrored version.
Right.
So normally you'd expect that this be a perfect mirror of this or that.
Right.
They just used rotational symmetry rather than a mirror.
And one other really cool part about this is that this could enable right-hand driving very easily. So people in Australia, in Great Britain, etc., it looks like you could easily shift. Sorry about that. Thank you. You could easily shift from left-hand driving to right-hand driving, because you don't have to have the linkages and everything that go through the vehicle, so you don't have to redo the whole thing. You just move the steering wheel over to the right-hand side. So that would be, for the people who are in Australia, the UK, etc., they're going to be very happy to hear this because it probably means they'll get the vehicle sooner than they thought they were going to. So yeah, and then of course there is the rest of the drive unit here. And yeah, if we pull out, so yeah, you can see the shock tower here is absolutely huge. It's a really, really large shock tower back there. I guess that's my hand. There was a very kind Tesla factory worker who was going through the whole thing and talking about it. He was talking about the amount of redundancy that they have built into this in order to make sure that nothing can happen. You almost wonder if they have their own independent power supply potentially with like a small battery that could last for a couple of minutes or something. So, you know, you got to have something that will not fail ever.
And it's really not that hard of a challenge when you step back and think about the fact that we've had fly-by-wire in the aircraft industry for a long time. And obviously, you know, these Boeing 737s, 747s, all your Airbus A380s, like all these things are using the exact same type of fly-by-wire system that Tesla's doing. So if it's been done in aviation, there's no reason that it can't be done in automotive. It's just that no one has had the balls to do it.
Right, yeah. And of course, this also enables rear wheel steering. If you think about trying to do this mechanically, to go all the way back to the back wheels and have them steer, I don't even want to think about how complicated that is. So doing it steer by wire enables the same situation as we have here on the back. And so you do the same thing and you're able to turn the rear wheels as well. And so that's what would allow them to make those really tight U-turns and everything by partially turning the back wheels as well as the front wheels. But if they had to do that mechanically, it would almost be impossible. It would be very, very, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's just super challenging. Very not Tesla.
Well, and it's also likely that the exact same linkage, the exact same motor, so it'll be the same parts that are used for the rear wheels as used for the front wheels, just knowing Tesla and their ability to reuse the same SKU over and over again.
And you can also see the motor drive unit is up here as well. So it's not super here, but they have new motors that they've built for the Cybertruck. So not the same as what they have in the Model S or the Model 3 or whatever. New motors. The back unit that has the dual motors is one housing for both motors inside the one housing with apparently a differential lock that they can do. I don't know how that works, but it's pretty amazing. They're very compact. Like the dual motor system in the back is compact. The front motor system is very compact. So there's a lot of amazing technology that's going on right here. And we're just, I don't know, it was very impressive to see this. I was really surprised to hear that they actually got NHTSA's permission to do steer-by-wire because it's not something they've ever allowed before in a mass market car. And so it's a really big deal. And this is going to be the future. If you think about, if you want to talk about the robotaxi maybe, and steer-by-wire and why that would matter.
Oh, yeah, because then you don't need the steering wheel anymore. You'd be able to, it would not have to be present in there if it's going to be a robotaxi. Maybe it opens up the opportunity to be able to control it remotely if necessary.
Right.
And then I think the other thing you should say, that what's amazing is not only that they got permission from NHTSA to be able to do this, but that you actually got permission to film this.
Yeah, this was...
And not just this, but the whole line.
Yeah, so I've got about 20 minutes worth of video, so my channel, because we're going to go through everything, and we will look at everything. It was unbelievable that they were just like, take video of the whole factory. I was blown away, and I kept asking them. I was like, "Are you sure?" So it was really amazing to get a chance to not only see this stuff, but actually get it on video as well. And some of the crash tests work that they did, I don't know. I think I talked about this earlier, but that they have a simulator that they do, and the crash test simulator is so accurate that they have a one-to-one comparison. They did the physical crash tests and discovered that it was identical pretty much to the simulated crash test, which means that they can use the simulated crash test to figure out exactly what's going to happen at 35 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour from the side, from the front. All of that kind of stuff they can run many iterations in simulation and not have to work on individual cars to do that. So it's really exciting what they're doing. we're pretty hyped up. I don't know. We're also hyped up about Optimus, because if this is the actuators that they're using in Optimus, that means that they are ramping scale to be able to produce tens of thousands of these actuators. And that is really good news for a humanoid robot coming soon. Total speculation, but it's very exciting. I don't know if you guys have something else to say. Yeah, okay. I guess we've talked ourselves out. So yeah, we're really excited about this. There's a lot more factory stuff to be talked about, but this is a little teaser. It was one of the most important things, obviously. Getting the steer-by-wire was really, really cool. And yeah, we're excited about that. I don't know if maybe one or two questions, if people have them. I don't know if anybody has a question. If you want to, I don't know if we'll be able to hear, but we'll try. Yes. What? 44?
The 48-volt architecture.
Oh, 48-volt architecture. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, says the man. So 48-volt architecture, why does that matter? I don't know. You want to say what is 48? Yeah.
Well, so when you run electronics, there you have voltage, you have amperage, and then you have resistance. And if you go to a higher voltage, what it means that you can do is you actually lower the size of the wire that you need to transmit the same number of watts of power. And so it's a one-to-one correlation. Doing 48 volts means that you can have a system or a wiring system that is 1/4 the weight of the same exact wiring system that you would have to have for 12 volts. So you actually save quite a bit of power, or save quite a bit of weight in the wiring system. And then the other thing is that power over Ethernet runs at 48 volts. And so you can actually use standard Ethernet cable to run all of your peripherals inside of the vehicle. If you don't have enough power, if one Ethernet cable is not able to provide enough power for whatever accessory it is that you're running, you can just double up or triple up additional Ethernet cables. And so it dramatically simplifies the type and the size of wiring that you need.
Cool. Yep. Anything to add to that? Or
no, you had a look at some of the robots along the line. Was there anything you wanted to talk about that? I mean, that's some of the video that, I don't know if you were able to show that later.
Right. I don't know. Supposedly we have time for one more question, so
Okay.
we'll have to table that for future talks. But yeah, do we have one more? Yes. Wow. Okay. I don't know that I'm super qualified to answer that. Yeah, so the question was, how does the technology in the Cybertruck in terms of shock absorbing specifically? Yeah, the robustness. I mean, obviously the shock tower is just huge in that thing. It was shockingly large. I think the other thing that maybe I could talk to was the structural rigidity of the vehicle, because it has a front gigacasting, which is gigantic, way bigger than a Model Y or Model 3, has a rear one, and those are like the underlying part, but then it also has what looks like gigacastings along the sort of angular back part of it, and that is also gigacast, it appears, I think. And then that's spot welded onto other parts in the back. And then the whole battery pack is structural, so it's exactly like the Model Y. It just has the seats that are sitting directly on the battery pack. All of that stuff is lifted up into the vehicle, and then the entire roll cage. They said that they have the largest door openings of any vehicle. So, like, if you look at it without the doors on it, it looks ridiculous. It's like, it's like you could just like walk through it. So it's these huge openings, and so incredibly large, spacious openings, but also incredibly rigid. I think Elon talked about the rigidity of the vehicle and how it was more rigid than a lot of other cars. So yeah.
Well, and
McLaren, thank you.
Sandy also mentioned that the tanks that they use for the compressed air to handle the air suspension part of it were the biggest tanks that he had ever seen on a production vehicle. So the air system is going to be massive. It's going to be extremely performant. And he expected, I mean, we obviously haven't seen exactly what the results were at Baja, but we expect really good things from the suspension.
Right. Anything you want to say? Oh my gosh, we've got Scott quiet. So I guess we have to go now. Thank you all so much for your attention. We appreciate it. Yeah, thank you all. All right. And we'll be next up.
Thank you.
All right. Ciao, folks.
In the heart of nature, where the symphony of the wild plays, a new performer quietly steps onto the stage, rewriting the rules of off-road adventure with zero emissions and infinite possibilities. Light Horse, a tale of power told in electric whispers.
Are you ready to take your communication to the next level? Introducing Corporate Streams, providing painless solutions for live streaming since 2012. With Corporate Streams, you can transport attendees worldwide to the heart of your event with our cutting-edge audio and video, amplifying your message and making a lasting impact. Imagine attendees interacting with speakers and presenters through live chat and Q&A sessions regardless of their location. You can create an immersive, inclusive experience for participants no matter their circumstance. Say goodbye to the burdensome costs of traveling and venues. Our clients have reported savings of up to 86% compared to traditional events. Extend the lifetime of your event with on-demand content. Whether watching a missed session or revisiting key moments, no longer will your audience have to choose. It's time to elevate your communication with Corporate Streams, revolutionizing the way you connect, engage, and make an impact.
A good shave is a precise shave. But just how small is the scale of this precision? When we were initially experimenting with different blade gaps and blade exposures, we were surprised at the difference that microscopic changes made. For context, a piece of paper is about 4/1000th of an inch thick. Turns out, that's enormous compared to the scale of shaving. Currently, our blade is extended past the shave plane by about 1/3 of the thickness of a piece of paper. We realized this amount of blade support was necessary to minimize skin irritation and discomfort for most people. At Henson, we build our razors to aerospace standards, holding microscopic tolerances. Why? Because as it turns out, it makes all the difference.
Thank you again to Dr. Know-It-All. Thank you to everybody who's been with us tonight. Thank you to you guys. Oh my God, what a great crowd. I've loved meeting every one of you. I hope I meet all of you tonight. This has been just so amazing. Jesse, doing it with you was the greatest. Gotta give you a hug.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is great. Wow.
What an
Thank you guys for
amazing
making
time,
it so
huh?
special. I love being part of this community.
And you know what the best part is? We're going to be closing down our live stream because, well, it's just time for the after party.
Yes.
And for those of you at home, I toast to you. I haven't drank all night because we've had to run this event. It's just been insanely good. What an amazing group of people who've showed up. I got to interview Franz von Holzhausen.
I know, dude.
He got out of a Cybertruck and talked to me. Are you kidding me?
Fist bump. Yes.
Insane.
Also, I mean, when we were planning this event, we thought there'd be Cybertrucks here, but to actually have 3 of them show up was just
insane.
awesome. I got to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. We started about 30 days ago, and they all just jumped on board. You guys have to give a real big round of applause because without them, this wouldn't have been possible. Lex.art. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Xpel, those beautiful cars out front.
Henson Shaving.
Henson Shaving. Jesse's probably going to shave tomorrow and look a little different because of Henson, his favorite shaver.
Yep.
And the great folks at Light Horse. What cool-looking machines they've got. So thank you, all of our sponsors. You made this possible. But the biggest group, who we could not have even attempted to do this without, was Noah and Corporate Streams. Your crew has been amazing tonight, taking care of everything, taking care of us. Big round of applause for you guys, because this is all them.
Everything that you see here that is not a building was pretty much put in by Corporate Streams, including the tent that has kept us dry this morning, all of the cameras, all of the lights, that sick orbiting thing that we got those awesome shots of the Cybertruck with, that was all Corporate Streams. They wanted to do this so bad. I also want to thank the Lustre Pearl for putting this on.
Yes.
They didn't charge us any money. We couldn't have done this if they charged a venue fee. We would have been
so go buy
big
another
trouble.
drink.
So yeah, go buy a drink and let them know that you appreciate that they let us throw this absolutely insane party here free of charge. That was so sweet of them.
And thank you to everybody. I mean, I want to thank the Tesla owners of Austin. They put this together with us. Couldn't have done it without them. It's been just a great group. I want to thank Starman and Franz for showing up. Wow, that was great. And
that was
Sandy
fantastic.
Monroe. I mean, everyone, all of the YouTubers who are here with us tonight. It was so much fun to hang out with them.
So we're going to be signing off. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week on Tesla Time News.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.